They pop crowds. They pop corn. They pop culture. It's the Lowdown with Shane and Elliot.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the latest installment of the Lowdown Popcast. I am the voice of PCW, Elliot Popston. Alongside of me is the host of the Shane event, founder of one of the hottest wrestling promotions in the Mid-Atlantic. He can sell ice to an Eskimo. New York's greatest export, Shane Dorr. Shane, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? I am ecstatic with these cool microphones. Oh, that was nice.
Yeah,
I like it.
Fade in, fade out.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Now, yeah, I must say we're the hottest wrestling company in South Carolina and Georgia. Gary Lamb. Sorry,
Shots fired.
No.
Pew pew.
I left North Carolina out of it for a reason.
Well, we have a very special guest. He's been on here before and backed by popular demand. He is the founder of AML Wrestling. He is one of the greatest people, I believe you and I can agree on, that we know. He is an entrepreneur. He is the owner of Frank Myers Automax. He is a best-selling author. He's won an Oscar, Emmy.
Yeah.
Man, and the list goes on. And today we're here to talk about one more thing that he's founded, and that is Wrestlecade. Ladies and gentlemen, Tracy Myers. Tracy, what's up, man?
Fellas? Hey, it's good to be back. It's pretty soon, pretty quick. I'm honored. Thank you.
Man, we're honored.
Yeah, absolutely. Tracy, thank you so much for taking your time to, sit down with us again and, chat it up, man.
Like all those things Elliot listed off. Like, how do you find the time to be able to fit us in?
I don't do most of that stuff anymore. Just wrestling and automotive now. I still do some consulting. The books, there's no way to have a wrestling company and Wrestlecade and write a book. That's I have one book left on my publisher's contract, and it expired. I mean, I have 2 years to write the book, and I haven't started. So, and I'll ask you guys this: do I write? I'm still in wrestling. You guys know that, right? So, do I write a book about wrestling now? That could be a little tricky, right?
Oh,
I mean, like my life in wrestling so far type deal, but man, that could be really tricky, right? You know how guarded wrestling can be, right? And Brian and I, my partner Brian Hawks, we've said, man, when something happens, we'll say that's going in the book, because we said when we get out, there's lots of stories, but you can't tell those stories now. But I wonder if you could like give a teaser type thing, or I mean, because the stories that aren't interesting, they don't need to be in a book, and the stories that are interesting, would probably be blackballed in some capacity. So I don't know. We've got some great stories though. Oh my gosh.
I can't wait to the day the curtains pull back.
Oh my gosh, man. We got some stories. I got a Sabu story though. Just, so good. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's what we want to hear.
Yeah. Good stuff. But, wrestling's good. I saw the big good in South Carolina over the weekend. Congratulations on that.
Oh yeah,
thank you, sir.
Good old Camden, big city.
Yeah, it looked great. I love the. Not even sure where I was, but I saw the golf cart spot and the cop on. And I liked that a lot. I went and showed. I said, "Look at this."
It was funny because this, of course, Ryan Adler. I don't know if you know him, Tracy, but Drew's little brother.
Yep.
Drew's big brother.
Right.
Drew's big little
Drew's
brother.
older brother. His older brother.
His big little brother. Sorry. He's the smallest guy in the card, right?
Right.
And we picked the biggest cop you've ever seen. Intentionally, of course.
Yeah.
No, I think it made for a good visual.
It did.
It reminded me.
Yeah.
Tracy, you ever seen Friday?
Yes.
It reminded me of like Debo going out and picking up Cat Williams.
So I'll tell you what I noticed. The first thing I noticed, obviously, the visual, the cool little cop golf cart thing with the lights. I'm like, oh my god, that's so cool, right? And then I saw that this cop who I don't know if it was like a fan cam thing I saw or what, but anyway, the cop looked, pretty hefty, right?
A little bit.
And then he grabbed the guy, and I swear it looked like he was getting ready to throw him like over the golf cart.
Listen, I told someone, I said, I was waiting for him to just pick Ryan up by his belt and just tote him out.
Hang him on the door.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting on. I was waiting to see if that happened.
It was an absolute honor. Obviously we all know Ethan's heavily involved in the writing of PCW shows, and for him to kind of essentially allow me to do that whole bit, that was me. We kind of collectively came up with the idea, but as far as like the Bad Boys theme playing and it playing the whole time, like never shutting off.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as like me driving the golf cart and having the cops sit on the back, so I drive out like nobody can see him like through me until I get off, and I tap. Ryan sees me and he's like, I'm not leaving. It's just Shane. I tap at the top of the golf cart, and then all of a sudden the golf cart just
raises up.
It lifts up. I think cheese in pro wrestling is a good thing, Tracy. I
thought all that was well done, and then it looked like the entire entrance was getting ready to fall over when the golf cart went through it.
My face caught it.
And of course, I don't think anybody else would have noticed that, but as a promoter and knowing how those things go up and how expensive those things can be, or any of that, right? I just know. My first thought was, oh my god! I just gasped. Oh my god! He just ripped the whole. He tore the whole.
Man, I caught it with my face.
But it looked fantastic. It was very well done.
It looked more believable.
It was believable.
Yeah, no. It was. I'm saying all of it worked well. Even the Bad Boys, all of it. So that's your first time in Camden, though, right?
Yes. And
will you go back? Would you go back?
I would definitely go back. I had an absolute blast working with the Camden Police Department and Kershaw County Sheriff's Office, and I think that venue is absolutely stunning. Beautiful venue.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we'd go back to that venue. Just not necessarily anything bad, but
yeah.
There's other venues in the city of Camden limits that I think would be a better fit for us.
Right.
But absolutely, I think Camden's an amazing town, historic town. I don't know if you saw. You're big on history, and with WCW, there's a fan of ours, Joel, who was last in that arena for a wrestling show in 1993 with WCW. Wow. And he showed me the picture of him in the ring.
I saw that. I did see that. Yes.
And he asked if we could recreate that image. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff, man, I live for, especially
in No, I agree with that. And the stories are what people remember, whether it's the story in the ring or the story going. Like we talked about the last time, me taking my son to WrestleMania for since he was, I don't think he could talk yet. He could, but it wasn't far from that. He was so small. And my wife being concerned that he would get lost in the crowd. That's how small he was. And now we're still going. So, we remember those stories are the story.
You there?
Hey, Tracy, did we lose you?
That's like I said earlier, before we came on the air. That was what we consider a spot show. We've never been there before, and it was in a high school. And we went in there, and the high school super old, but the gymnasium, the bleachers, sit 800 per side approximately. So that's 1,600 in the bleachers. And look, I'm an independent wrestling promoter, and I'm like, oh my god. And of course, I knew that going in. I'd scouted the venue, obviously, but I didn't ask those questions. I'm like. Look, we've all, I won't speak for you. We've been in situations where, you've got a venue that seats, let's just say 1,000 is a good round number, and you've sold 150 tickets in advance, and you're praying to God, 2 hours before the doors open that another 100 show up so it doesn't look empty, and how you're going to black things out, and, how you're going to creatively position things. Thankfully, that's been a few years, but we've still been there, right?
Sure.
So when we get there and, it was actually a 2-day event because FTR asked if they could do a seminar on Sunday morning. Well, yeah, but we're not going to get there at 5 a.m, and the school's not either to let us in to set up, right? So we asked the school if we could go down Saturday, and they said, "Oh yeah, sure, we don't care." And we're like, "Man, we love small towns. There's just no politics involved, right?"
Right.
So they opened the doors. The athletic director was there. He just sat there and watched us. We set the ring, set the entrance, set the lights, came back, and we just were ready to go to work. But I was sitting there with the athletic director, and I said, "Okay, so man, this gym's really big. How many's it seat? 800 per side, approximately, is what he said." Okay, all right, cool. So I'm getting in my mind, and of course, because of who we had on this card, and I knew what the pre-sales were, obviously by this time, at least the day of, we already had, almost 600 tickets sold by this time, pre-sales, and we had 24 hours to go. So, and I knew my 5 rows on the floor all the way around. 15, so you got what's that? 60 times 5, whatever that is. I'm bad with math. 60 times 5. So we got that on the floor, right? So I'm saying, okay, so we're just going to use one side. Here's where the hard cam's going to be and all that. So anyway, it turned out great. We had one side of the bleachers, which you can see, pictures on our page. It was elbow to elbow. So I'm thinking, okay, he says it's 800 per side. That's got to be 800. Let's shave 100 off just to be safe, right? We knew how many tickets it was, but still. So that's 700, and you had your 5 times 60 on the floor. So that's a really good crowd. We're happy with it, right?
You broke 1,000.
Oh, no, we did break 1,000. So, the guy, as soon as it's over, said, "Let's do this again next year." I'm like, "Brother, let's. Have you got the contract? But I guess the moral of the story is, it doesn't matter how much you promote, how great the show looks on paper, how excited you make the people in the town. I mean, there's just so much work that goes into it, and sometimes you just don't know until the the day of the show.
That's right.
And we've never had, like in our hometown, we've never had a lot of walk-ups. We might have, and I've heard stories, by the way, of people who told me. Bob Keller's a good example. Bob said, "Look, if my town's generally, I don't even know when he told me this, if we sell 300 in advance, then we can expect 300 walk-ups, right?" And George South told me the same story. We never had that. If we do 300 in advance, we're lucky if we get 100 walk-ups. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, it seems PCW is whatever they sell or whatever PCW sells as a whole. It seems like the exact same number comes to the door.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, that's good. That's what George always told me, and Bob Keller told me the same thing. But in Winston, it never happens ever. So I look at about another 25% is in Winston, but in Salisbury, that was where that was going. In Salisbury, in a small town where wrestling hadn't been forever, and that's what they reminded me of. You told me about, we were talking about stories. We had Arn Anderson there and his son, and Arn was talking about how Crockett used to have shows twice a year in that gym back in the day, and he was talking about who he wrestled in that gym in 1983, 80, whenever he, I was like, "And you're kidding?" I didn't know that, because the athletic director said, "Well, wrestling used to come here twice a year." He didn't say Jim Crockett Promotions used to come there twice a freaking year.
Wow,
that's completely different.
It's a whole
AML's wrestling. That Jim Crockett Promotions is like manna from heaven almost. So
that's
anyway, right. If you're from the South, anyway,
we understand the reference.
Yeah. So it's and then Sam Houston came, just drove up, wasn't booked, didn't ask for any money. I was waiting for that because it's wrestling, right? I was waiting for that's not a crack on Sam. That's just trying to find a spot on the card, right? I didn't ask for a gimmick table, nothing. The dude came because wrestling was there. He lived a couple hours away, and he said same thing. We used to work here when Crockett came twice a year. I just wanted to see if the gym looked the same.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it was insane. So, but the crowd was great. Members were made. They booked us again, or said would love to have you back the next year. So waiting on that contract, and just never done those small towns. But we had another, approximately 500 walk-up, 450, 500 walk-ups, which was a little less than we had sold in advance, but not many. So that rule held true. And it was ironic. I've never run across this, by the way, because us being in Winston, we're not. It's not fortunate. So I was going to say fortunate, but it was going to be sarcastic. So I just said it was sarcastic to have a lot of these blog writers that come to the shows, right? But we had one at this show for obvious reasons. FTR was there, and he reported that there was at least 400 people there.
Wow.
And the human side of me, I'm a pretty laid back guy, right?
Sure.
Man, I was like, 400, dude. Give me 7, give me 8. I mean, I'm not even throwing promoters numbers out, which are usually fluffed. Not necessarily mine, just in general, right?
What are those?
Well, WrestleMania is never fluff.
Absolutely. So, but I mean, if I'm thinking, man, I'm going to send this guy an email. I hit Brian. I said, dude, did you see this? He's like, man, nobody reads that. And I'm like, I read it. Somebody sent it to me. I said, I'm going to send this guy. I said, I'm going to run the cash register report. Why would I lie about this, dude? I've got the ticket reconciliation. I said, I run this like a business. And he's like, dude, it doesn't matter. I said, it matters to me. Dudes call me a liar. We put out 1,000+ people. He's like, it doesn't matter. Nobody reads that. Said the blog is on Blogspot, for God's sakes.
Tracy's like in White Chicks. I'm going to write a letter. Dear Mr. Royal Hampton.
So anyway, I got past that. I said, you know what? Yeah, okay, you're right. So I had to take a deep breath and get over that real quick. But it was a good weekend and learned a lot. Every town we go to, we learn a lot. So
how'd the seminar come out?
Oh, look, we had seminar was amazing. You watch those. I'm talking about FTR. FTR had the seminar, their first ever seminar, and probably their last seminar. And without getting into a lot of the specifics, and they didn't necessarily tell us this, but we just heard that AEW has been real loosey-goosey with their talent, meaning where WWE always had the clamps down and they couldn't appear anywhere, AEW would let talent appear, and a lot of their talent wrestle, right, with permission. I don't know if all that's going to be changing, but their top stars, I think, and this is just me from stuff through the grapevine, I think a lot of that will start changing. And that's probably it. But, there were guys that drove, I retweeted some of it, guys that drove like 5 states away, and they should have for that seminar. We've even hosted seminars that were well-intentioned, and I'm not going to call them cash grabs because we would never intentionally do that, but they probably weren't worth the money. But how do you know that when you book it, right? I learned more than I've ever learned about wrestling just listening to the way they put things together and the way they explain things. And you're like, okay, this is why these guys are the best in the world right now.
Well, I was going to say, to be able to have the honor and privilege to sit under the learning tree of the hottest tag team in the world right now. The best, I would say, dare say that you're talking Dax is, in my mind, probably in the running for Wrestler of the Year. Elliot said that.
Oh yeah, easy.
So
he's so good.
Yeah, I think that's easy because when you got a guy like Flair in his prime, I'm not saying Flair made all those guys look good, but he brought out the best in them, knew what their strengths and weaknesses were, and always played up the strengths and stayed away from the weaknesses. And he just knew how to do that, and that's what they did. And they talked about a lot of that in the seminar. Yeah. Which I've heard nobody talk about that in a seminar before. And AML and Wrestlecade have hosted, dozens of seminars. And man, there's been some phenomenal ones. So it's not taking anything away from any of the seminars we've had. Dr. Tom's is amazing. Bill DeMott's is incredible. So, but this was truly next level. So, and there were 47 participants.
Wow.
That just came for the seminar, and it's $120 seminar for 3 hours. So, kudos to the guys that invested and the females that invested. And, they said at the end of it, Dax stood up and passionately said, here's the thing about it. There's nobody on this show today that invests in he was taking a shot. I mean, he said it, so there's no need to hide it. He said, there's nobody that's on this show today that felt the need to spend the money, invest in their career to be here. Nobody. And you guys did. So it was amazing. And the show taught us how to drink out of a fire hose, because it reminded me, obviously there's more people at Wrestlecade, but you put 1,000+ people in a high school gym with Brian, myself, Brian's wife, Mike Calandro, who's was a fan 7 years ago, and now, and then he went through training at 40 years old, and wanted to have a match or two, and now he just volunteers. And our students, which there were 12, 13 of our students there. I mean, that's still a ton of work to do, just for crowd control alone. That's a ton of work. So it was a good weekend, real good weekend. And the last month we were in another strange town working with the CYN guys. So we talked about that last time. So it's been an awesome second half of the year for us.
Speaking of CYN, Tracy, have you been? There's some interest I hear from on the forefronts that about Braun
possibly going back.
So I've heard those discussions have got pretty in depth already. Yeah. Not from anyone that's not from Braun or anyone like that, but I mean some pretty inside sources have said that conversation has happened, and it's happened a couple times. And I'll tell you someone else they said that Triple H is talking to, and that's
EC3?
Not EC3, Jonah, Bronson Reed.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
he's making some waves, man.
Yeah, he was high on him in NXT, and I thought he was phenomenal in NXT. But they let him go, and he's been in Impact, and his contract expired in Impact that he didn't re-sign. So, he's Triple H is definitely doing what every good business person does, in my opinion, and he surrounds himself with people that he knows, he likes, and he trusts.
And he's also doing what everybody's always been wanting him to do, and from the small things, lots changed since we last talked. As far on the WWE front,
that's the truth.
But okay, thank God it's Austin Theory again and Matt Riddle.
Yes.
I mean,
so Shane and I don't know if you've been keeping up with the show. I don't know if you've had time to, but Shane and I mentioned probably the past two shows that we definitely expected Triple H to come back and, get rid of the single last name and say Matt Riddle, Austin Theory, Tommaso Ciampa or Ciampa, however you say his name.
Ciampa.
Yeah, Ciampa, like Mario.
Yeah. and I get it. And Tracy can, would be able to tell us more, but I would think that the reason that they always did the whole single name thing is to avoid having their name trademarked. When you agree, Tracy?
Well, yeah.
From
they
a business
can own the
standpoint.
name. Yeah, right. And I always thought that was brilliant on Vince's end. He did a lot of brilliant things, sure. Even though, like people like to dump on him a lot. But I mean, we wouldn't have wrestling the way it is today, whether you like it or not. It wouldn't be the multi-billion-dollar industry it is today if it weren't for Vince, period.
Yeah, sure.
I agree. And I think Triple H came in here and be like, you know what? We're not gonna trademark your name. We're not gonna do that. But we need you.
Yeah.
We need you to have your full name.
Yeah. And I think it's, if anything else, I mean, I think Vince definitely started doing that, in WCW when they were competing, because they would go over there and they had that name value. And he's like, look, my machine built your name and put it to the masses. And now you're taking that equity that I built somewhere else. So look, I get it. So,
yeah.
But Triple H, I think, of course, I hadn't talked to him. I'd love to sit down and talk to both of them, actually, just as a business person, not a wrestling person. But, I think maybe he has the long game in mind, where I think Vince used to. And I'm not a Vince was too old conspiracy guy. I don't know, because I've never talked to him, right? But it sure seems like the last decade or so that he's been very, it's my show, it's my world, my decision, I don't care what you like type person. And it definitely seems like Triple H, from his the way he ran NXT was more, long game. So, does it really matter? Like Matt and Jeff Hardy left WWE, 14 times and came back, and they had their name when they were there. They had their name when they left. They had their name when they came back. So does it really matter?
But
I don't know.
But then you have people like Bully Ray, who was Bubba Ray.
Yeah.
Then Bully Ray and brother Ray and brother Devon.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's definitely interesting. I did not think that Triple H would make the decisions as quickly, or the changes as quickly as he's made the changes.
That could be a shock to stockholders. That's you kind of got. You think from a business standpoint they'd be a little slower implemented, but
then again, it may be one of those things where, because he's been around the company so long, even though he was gone briefly, because of his name, maybe the stockholders like, you know what, we trust him.
Well, look, those stockholders are going to look at ratings at the end of the day.
Sure.
The ratings have gone up, so I think what if it was or not casual fan, more long-term old school fans like myself, who admittedly it was on every week, but it's hard to watch 3 hours on Monday night. I don't care if it's fantastic, right? It's hard to watch because who has the time?
I love 2-hour shows.
Yeah, correct. But it's on. But now, I mean, since he came in the first week, I watched it all beginning to end because there's a curiosity factor, and that popped that first rating.
Man,
if it had sucked, it would have dropped the next week, but it didn't. So he's maintained that,
and it's going up and up.
It's going up, right? So the buzz is still really good, and he started off with wrestling. Was it last night? Yeah, started with wrestling last night. So instead of a 20-minute promo.
Yeah, that's that.
I liked it.
Details.
I liked it a lot.
So going back to Wrestlecade.
Yeah,
Wrestlecade.
Let's get into Wrestlecade
because I heard it mentioned already, and I want to go back to it. So let's talk about what I saw on the interwebs today.
Do we want to talk about that, or do we want to talk about the inception of it and all that?
We'll go into that.
Okay,
we'll go into that. But what I saw today was something that just blew my mind because it wasn't expected. So at Wrestlecade 2022, I saw Johnny Gargano is coming to Wrestlecade.
Yep.
Tracy Myers. Oh, you got to talk about this. How did this happen?
Yeah, so it's actually a good transition because we're kind of talking about those changes, and we've mentioned it briefly already that WWE always had a lockdown on their talent.
Sure.
You can do anything, and kind of historically now in the immediate past, some of the female talent, especially, they were doing the side projects. I don't know if it was only Twitch, some Twitch and OnlyFans and stuff like that. And Vince's like, nope, can't do that either. That's my money. Own your likeness, yada yada yada. You can't do it, and a couple of them quit over that. And appearances were a no-go. Well, in the past year, they did hire an agency. Fitterman, I don't know how you pronounce it. But anyway, that's the exclusive agency where you can have some of this talent appear. I have spoken to them, by the way, and kind of the synopsis of how that works. If they come in, they bring them in, and they pretty much just, I don't want to say dictate, but they own it.
Oh yeah.
You're going to make your money off ticket sales. They're going to keep the meat and grease stuff. There's a certain amount that they vet your show, and you have to have a certain amount of people that you can prove that have come through the gate. Can't be obviously a mud show or 200 people flea market type deal. They're not going to do that. But the bigger shows, anybody you want, pretty much represented by them. But the cool thing that's happening that we've seen happen is Gargano and Karrion Kross, Killer Kross, and Scarlett were scheduled to appear. They got signed. Man, I wasn't even watching. I was going to watch on replay, and I started getting the messages. Oh my God, I guess that means they're not coming. Man, what are you talking about? So I called the agents. I called Gargano's agent right away because I'd been dealing with him directly. And Gargano's agent said that they had those were being worked into the contracts to where, and this is so special because it's never happened before, ever. You didn't fulfill agreements. When you guys signed those obligations, any obligations past that were done with WWE. But we have been told that Gargano, Cross, and Scarlett, those exceptions have been made to where they can fulfill the obligations that they had prior to re-signing.
I'm assuming not in a wrestling capacity.
No, absolutely not.
Now
just signing. Yeah.
Was Sam Shaw one that was supposed to be coming on? Now Dexter Lumis, was he one?
Yep. So Sam was coming. Sam, we didn't go through an agent, went directly through Sam, and I don't know if this was, and just being totally transparent here, I don't know if this was a Sam decision or Dexter Lumis, whatever you want to call him. Sam Shaw, Dexter Lumis decision or WWE decision. But he pulled himself.
Okay.
And maybe he's like, look, I don't want to risk getting hurt or mobbed, or I'll just stay in my lane here in WWE. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. And I posted on social media, don't get mad. Don't get angry that they're not appearing. It's a human emotion to be disappointed. Obviously, if if Gargano's your favorite guy and all of a sudden he can't appear, but look, that's how they get paid. And WWE is still the largest wrestling company in the world,
sure, by
far. So be happy for them. And, maybe their bump card gets full, they'll be back around,
So for those who don't know what Wrestlecade is, that we were alluding to the inception of it. Wrestlecade is probably one of, if not the largest wrestling conventions in the Mid-Atlantic, in our part of the country. It's absolutely wonderfully organized part of AML. They have over, what do we say, Tracy, every year? Over 100 guests. I mean, I think that's a shooting low.
Yeah, we were at 100. We were over 150 last year, and open up another room. But yeah, we always say more than 125. So
I can't. There we go. So let's talk about how that began. How did that idea come to fruition?
Yeah, so like most things I've done in my life, I did it wrong first, and started bigger than I probably should have, but I didn't know any better because I'm really not that smart. But I think that's I'm not even being sarcastic here. A lot of times I just don't know any better and say, okay, let's do that. Right. And because of my, because I just don't know any better, I just jump in, if that makes sense.
Sink or swim.
Like, yeah. Well, I don't even have that attitude about it. It's like, okay, yeah, sure. And then, 3,000 people, 4,000 people, 5,000 people show up. It's like, okay, you got to make this work now because they're here. So literally kind of done that. Sometimes it's worked great, like Wrestlecade, and sometimes it's blew up my face. But I think all entrepreneurs are kind of wired like that. They have more failures than they have successes, and God knows that that's the case with me. But Wrestlecade started off as a one-off fundraiser that was going to be in the parking lot of my car dealership. True story.
Wow.
Tim Woody, but Tim Blaze was his wrestling name, and he wasn't wrestling at the time, but he had been let go from American Express, and he interviewed with me, and I hired him as a salesperson, and we started talking, and during the interview, and 35 seconds in, he's like, yeah, I said, hey, what have you done your whole life? Well, I just got let go from American Express call center, but I was a pro wrestler. Wait a minute, you what? Pro wrestler, dude. So then we talked for like an hour, right? And he was trained by George South. That's how I met George South. So now the story all kind of ties together a little bit. Oh my God, George South, dude! I used to watch George South on Saturday mornings as a kid. What are you talking about? That George South? Yep, that George South trained me. I used to do dark matches in WWE. He used to take me up the road with the Hardys, and that's how we met Matt. Because Jeff and him used to travel together because he got trained by George, or the Hardys didn't, but George used to get them bookings at WWF, right? And you've probably heard the story of George taking the booking fee. Have you heard that story?
I have not, but I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, no. It's a Hardy's talked about on his podcast before, and there's nothing but love for George, but George, because he was a veteran. WWF George is one of the guys that brought a van full of guys to WWF, right? For their house shows or TV tapings, house shows, whatever. And they trusted George and others, of course, but to bring this car full of young talent for squash matches. I mean, call it like it is, right? And the Hardys were a couple of those guys. Well, if they paid, I don't know what the amount was, by the way. Matt knows, and he talks about it on his podcast, which is really good. But say they got paid $50, George would take half as a booking fee. And I know some people have kind of hated on that, but George got them the booking.
Sure.
So,
called an agenting fee.
That's right.
Hey, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if those bookings would have happened. Tim certainly didn't mind it. Matt has gone on to say, look, we probably wouldn't have gotten those bookings at that moment in time. It was good experience. We learned the road. But we got our foot in the door. We didn't know any better, so didn't hurt anything. You know, probably helped us accelerate our careers. But, you know, it's a really good story. And after Tim was selling cars for me for, I don't know, a few weeks, hey, man, you got a big parking lot out here. It sounds like a carny wrestler now, right?
Yeah.
We need to have you ought to get a wrestling show out here. Dude, I don't have a ring. What are you talking about? Now, George has got a ring. Oh, my God. Okay. Yeah. So, George, I said, look, I don't know George. Oh, I know George. I'll get George over here. So we had a community picnic, and George came over with, and I didn't know Ricky Morton was coming. So George brings Ricky Morton.
Who's that?
They're just going to sign. They're just going to sign autographs right that day.
My gosh.
So I meet George. I said, "Can we do this?" He said, "Oh yeah, bro. It's no problem at all. Trace, I'll bring the ring, and I'll bring my students, and we'll have a show, and Ricky will come." And okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Let's do it. Well, people were coming to buy tickets at the dealership, and it got to a point where it's like, I told Tim, I said, we can't do this in the parking lot, dude. We got to sell cars. I said, I've got 20, 30 people a day, and Tim kept adding talent too, by the way, because Tim was over at this point, hadn't met Brian yet. Tim was over booking the talent. So Tim had booked Raging Bull, Manny Fernandez. He had booked, oh my God, anybody within driving distance, because I told him I couldn't pay anybody to fly in. So you name it, they were coming. Baby Doll was coming. Tommy Young was coming. I don't know who else.
Not bad for your first show, brother.
Barbarian was coming. You name it. They were all coming. I said, oh, my God.
And Tracy's a fan at this point. So he's like, oh, man, this is going to be great.
Oh, no. Yeah, but look, I know we had to sell cars. We've sold a couple hundred tickets already. I'm like, there's nowhere to park. For 200 people. I mean, I even knew that at the moment. So I said, where can we go? So I started looking for schools. The schools in Forsyth County said, absolutely not. By the time I got to the third one, they're like, where all are, and the guy was really nice at the third school. First two just shut the door in my face. The third one, it's like, so what do how many schools have you been to? 2, and you're the third. Stop going to the schools because they're not going to let you have in Forsyth County. Well, I'm glad you told me. All right. The YMCAs were out. The cities, things were out. There was the Armory wasn't big enough. The convention center was the only other place. So now you got a convention center. I got some good talent, but I don't have all that talent because the convention center is huge. You've been there.
All right, so we're talking the Benton Convention Center at this point.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So now we've gone. Now
wow.
Stupid me. This is pre AML, by the way. I've never even run a small indie show.
AML's not even thought in your mind yet.
I don't even know what that is. So I'm thinking we're going to have a wrestling show. Now, keep in mind, I don't know that wrestlers at indie shows even sell merch. I don't even know what that is. So I'm thinking, okay, we're going to have a wrestling show. It's going to be on Saturday night, 7 to 9.
Surprised you didn't do 6:05.
I said, we'll have a meet and greet start at 5 o'clock. I said, okay, that's fine. It'll be out in the hallway. Well, here's what I noticed right off the bat. We had about 1,100 people there. Condensing the story somewhat because there's a lot of planning and didn't know what I was doing. They all get there and they're wanting to sell. Robert Gibson was the first one in the door.
Of course.
Robert's like, hey, brother, where can I sell my stuff? I was like, oh, give me 1 minute. So I go to Tim. I was like, Tim, what are they selling? He said, they're selling T-shirts and stuff. I was like, well, how am I going to make my money? He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, dude, I'm charging for autographs. Isn't that how I make my money? And so I learned a valuable lesson. I didn't talk about it, so they got to sell their stuff. I didn't make a dime at the meet and greet. But what I saw was we had about half the crowd left after the meet and greet. They didn't even stay for the wrestling show. So that's where the Fan Fest portion came in, because that's all it was. It was a meet and greet and a wrestling show. And we were done. That was Wrestlecade first year.
Wow.
Huh.
So and of course, in this time period, I met Brian. Brian said, "Hey, can I help? I like wrestling," or something like that. I mean, there's obviously more conversation than that. Sure, man, I need all the help I can get. I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
I was going to say, so a lot of the listeners don't know who your partner is, Brian Hawks. I actually had a couple people that listened to the episode said they heard Brian mention, but they didn't know who he was. So Brian is Tracy's partner in AML, Brian Hawks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how'd that come to that relationship?
Yeah. So we say this all the time. Like Brian is real direct and to the point. Brian runs the back of the house and I run the front of the house. I love it in the front of the house. I miss out on a lot of the interaction in the back, which kind of make me sad sometimes. But I like being out with the people, right? Just like at the dealership, I like being in the showroom with the customers. Don't stick me in an office. I can't stand it.
Amen,
but Brian is but anyway, Brian came on board. I mean, look, at this point, I don't know. I mean, I know what a booker and a promoter is, but there were no titles. There was nothing. It's like, just need help. But of course, it was just the meet and greet and the show. So when me and Brian got together and we had lunch or dinner or something to talk about it in January for the next year. And I said, "Dude, did you see all those freaking people in there for the meet and greet?" He's like, "Yeah." I say, "Well, we need more of that." And at this time, I'd never been to WrestleCon. I'd never been to nothing like that. So, and I'm not saying this stuff appeared in my head, but I'm making it up. I didn't have anything to emulate. I mean, there was stuff there, but I'd never been.
Sure.
Right. So I don't even think I'd been to a pop culture con at that point in time. So I'm like, okay, it can't be that hard. All right, let's get this and we'll put the tables up and we'll open up from this to this. We'll sell 2 different tickets and yada, yada, yada. And then start looking at I need 75 tables for that room and 75 guests. And, I did math. I'm like, oh, buddy, somebody needs to pay for these guests. Who's going to pay for these guests? I didn't know vendors brought guests in. I had no clue. I thought you paid for the guests. And so I'm backing into the number and I'm like, okay, these ticket prices are going to be too high. So, being in retail, I'm like, okay, you got to give them added value, right? You got to give them something else because the show and the meet and greet is not going to be worth it alone. So if the ticket price is going to be high, I got to give them something else. So we threw in a Q&A panel after the show. I mean, I don't know, for a super ticket type deal. Man, we're just making this stuff up on the fly.
That's
so
right.
year two, we had 1,700 people. Year 3 is when we really blew up and we almost hit 3,000 people.
So what changed between 2 and 3?
So year 3, year 3 is when we brought in what I consider our first guest that would make your rear end pucker a little bit, right? When you look at the price tag. So we brought in Razor Ramon, Diesel, and Waltman.
You brought in the Click.
The Click, right? And I mean, just think about that now. And I mean, I'm not gonna divulge prices, right, for what talent costs, but at that moment in time, and talent's a lot more than it was then, by the way,
sure,
because of supply and demand. Anyway, at that point in time, the most we ever spent on any talent was probably $2,500, right? And I thought that was a lot. But when we got the Click in there and times 3 and flights and hotels and et cetera, it was a lot more than that.
Sure.
So, but vendor stepped up, took that over, and I saw immediately those ticket sales spiked. The local guys drew. The Crockett guy, the local Crockett guys, Magnum TA, Nikita Koloff, Russian Bear, Ivankov, the guys who could drive, right? They drew well. Rock and Roll Express. You didn't have to pay for flights, which is super important because flights are still expensive. But when the Click came in, it was next level, dude. I mean, it was 900 tickets. And that's the only thing other than people finding that the event was there. Right. Because that's part of having any kind of business con show. They just don't know about you. Right. I'm thinking like when your promotion goes back to Camden next year, more people will know about it because you put on a great show. So they'll talk about, oh, that's the people that were there last year. right? And the third year should be bigger, and the fourth year and bigger, especially if you're having the same time frame. That's the way it's supposed to work. So I think combining those two things in year 4 was Sting and Flair.
I'd do it.
Sting and Flair popped us up over 5,000 people. And it expanded. Year 4 expanded to year 3 expanded to Friday night, Saturday. Year 5, that was year 3. Year 4 expanded to 3 days, and we've been 3 days ever since then. And until StarCast, we were the second largest wrestling con in the country. Now we bumped down to third, but man, that Conrad money's that's a different thing altogether. So
sure.
Yeah. But look, last year, which was post-COVID year, first year after COVID, we had Sting he came back. We had over 7,000 people from the 3 days. And that's without the international guests. The year before that, or the year before COVID shut us down, we had took pride in bringing 10 to 12% of our people were Canada, Europe, and some from Mexico.
Wow.
And we don't realize, or a lot of people, we do, but a lot of people don't realize that other countries never see these wrestlers, ever. And I didn't know that really until I started going to Mania and going to Access and sitting in Mania talking to people next to you, and they're from, they flew from Australia.
Yeah.
Like, dude, what? From Australia? Yeah. Oh yeah. I loved it. So then you realize that the international money's where it's at. And then, I became acquainted with Michael from High Spots, and they run WrestleCon, which is during Mania week. And, they talk about how that international money really drives, not all the profits, but a lot of their profits. They save that money because they never see this talent. And how often do we see this talent? And honestly, as wrestling fans, we get, I think, especially in certain parts of the country, like the South, we get spoiled.
Yeah.
We see it all the time. So now we'll fast forward, because we took up, we used to have 2 rooms. The big room where the big show is, the big pay-per-view on Saturday night, which is called the Super Show, which we like to, our formula is pretty down pat now, which is kind of cool. We'll have what we call I hate calling them legends matches, so we'll call them nostalgia matches.
Yeah.
We'll have one of those. We'll have like a first time ever match, which is kind of cool. Sometimes you get to combine those two, like when we did George South versus Muda. That was kind of, a nostalgia and a first time ever match, even though did you know that George South wrestled the great Muda in his first match in WCW?
Oh my Lord.
But except it was either a 3-way or a 4-way, but it wasn't a singles. So this was the first time ever in a singles match.
I can't imagine the crowd's the reaction, being in the presence of these two.
Well, here's the thing. You got to know your audience too, which, you know your audience well. We like to think we know ours. That match probably wouldn't have worked anywhere except in Winston-Salem, not because George is not an amazing talent, because he is, but, George is a hometown hero. And, when he has an open challenge, or Muda has an open challenge and George comes out, it was literally, and you can go back and watch it. This isn't promoter talk. It's like Hulk Hogan came out. The crowd went insane. But those kind of matches, and then your first time ever stuff for just off TV. Like last year, our main event was
Jushin Liger. Don't Liger?
Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy.
Oh,
whatever their names were at the time, I don't remember. And everybody knew their history in WWE, and they didn't get to finish that story. And that match was actually proposed to us by Aleister's people, or Malachi's people.
Wow.
Because him and Buddy are best friends in real life. The story didn't get finished in WWE because one of them got let go first. I forget.
Yeah, Aleister got let go, or Malachi got let go, and then later on, because Buddy Matthews was the the disciple of Seth Rollins for a while.
Right. You're right. So, but that story never got played out, and he said, "Look, I really want to do this match once." And finish it. And I think that's the best spot for it, man. What an honor when people know your event and your work, and or not our work, but what it represents and the people that are going to be there and how you can showcase a match like that. Amazing.
Well, yeah. And then you had all sorts of people posting on social media about that because it got some huge raves and everything. And it even brought more eyes to your product, Wrestlecade. So
yeah. Paul Heyman put it over on Bleacher Report first, but of course somebody retweeted it. Actually, I think either maybe Alistair or Buddy retweeted that Bleacher Report or whatever magazine the article is from, and then Paul commented on that. So it was like a double shot. Because he watched it, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, Paul Heyman's watching our pay-per-view? You gotta be kidding me right now. And he watched it for obviously for that match. He didn't watch it because it WrestleCade for that match, but you gotta have those. And that came from an idea and a story that wasn't finished, and people were invested in, probably match-wise. I think most people that have seen all the WrestleCade matches, like Brian and I have, we go back and say, no, that was the one. They were fully invested. They worked. They didn't work light, and I hate when, of course, it's their right to do it, of course. But when they come in, they work light, because it's whatever, not a huge pay-per-view to them. But to us, it's like, man, come on, give it something,
I'm trying
But they gave it everything. It was so good. But look, if you've never been to WrestleCade, going back to the original question, how it started, it just started, 3 years in, it became something much larger. It became larger every year. Third year, Brian and I sitting around, I was like, this is really cool. And it's a lot of work, but we can't tell the stories like we did when we were, like the ones we watched when we were kids, because they're one-off matches,
sure,
which is another skill set altogether, right? Because you do tell a story within a match, but it ends. It's got a beginning, middle, and end, and it's over, right? Unless you're fortunate to have a story that's built already, like Malachi and Buddy, but that doesn't happen often. So that's when we started AML. So, hey, that's cool, man. Let's start a monthly deal. All right. So where's the venue going to be? We don't know. So the schools won't let us. We're back to the same deal. So stupid me, right? I buy a ring. I call Hotspot. I asked Tim, hey man, where to get a ring? I'll just call Hotspots. Okay, great. Can you get me a ring? Sure, man. When ship you one in 2 weeks. Great. It shows up. True story. I'm like, oh my God, this thing's big and this thing's heavy. Where'd I put this thing? I don't know. So I'm not thinking. I say, okay, put it behind the building here. So that's another story altogether. But AML started. We knew the schools wouldn't work. The Army wasn't big enough in our minds. I was wrong about that, by the way. And they didn't have AC either. I'm kind of a venue snob.
Well, I feel you on that.
Yeah, that AC is nice in the summertime. Let me tell you,
especially in the Carolinas.
Oh my gosh! So we found a bar. Knew a guy that he didn't own the bar, but ran an entertainment magazine, Yes Weekly, kind of like Creative Loafing.
Yeah, I've heard of Yes. I've heard of Yes Weekly.
Cool. Yeah, every town's got a Creative Loafing or Yes Weekly or something like that. He said, oh yeah, there's a bar over there. Okay, so they're closed on Sundays. So I said, look, dude, let me try something here. So I walked in, they got low ceilings. Okay, the ring won't work. I measured, right? So now I've got to go find an old TV ring. Some people call him a low boy, which that's not what they're called. Rudy Gonzalez, Rudy Boy, corrected me on that once. So, but some people call them that just so they'll know that this is what I'm talking about. But it's an old TV ring, which sits low to the ground. Kind of goofy looking, actually, but that's what they use in old TV studios. So I found a guy that had one. I bought another ring. I don't have a place to put the first one. I've never used the first one except at Wrestlecade. So I've got a studio ring. They said they would give me the bar on Sunday after some conversation. Man, you're not using it any.
Bar.
Oh, yeah, I don't even know what that is. That's you?
You cut out just for a second.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't know what that was. It did cut out. And we'll have our show in the, okay, great. So we went in and we would get there. We'd go in Saturday night, early Sunday morning. They had pictures on the walls, and we can show you I can shoot you pictures. It's pretty amazing. They had pictures on the walls surrounding the bar of old Johnny Cash, Loretta Lynn, Tammy Wynette, Hank Williams, the original Hank Williams, in frames. I said, these are pretty cool. And they were massive, by the way. So we took our logos and we measured those frames, put our logos in those frames, and curtained off the back part of the bar.
It's a honky tonk.
Yeah, but when we got done with it, because now I go to CW, the local CW, and I say, hey, we're starting a wrestling television program. You want to pick the program up? I've never filmed a TV program in my life. So I'm like, oh yeah, how long is it? 30 minutes. Okay, let's see what we got. So they had guess what time they had? Saturdays at noon.
Oh wow.
Which is when I used to watch wrestling. I said, I'm in. So we get there and discover that's a different thing altogether. But we did that for a year and was glad to finish up with that, because there's a lot of, you need another team to do that. Just let me say that.
Sure.
Filming's one thing, but when you have to edit for continuity on television, totally different. So you either got to appeal to the live crowd or the TV crowd.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you do both. So,
well,
different story.
You even see that with the bigger companies.
Oh man, we went to this backtracks a little bit. Brian and I, we became friends with Jeff Jarrett. We went to the Global Force tapings in Vegas when they were doing the first, I don't know if it's 6, 7, 8 episodes, and they were pilots, right? And they were going to show those pilots to or try to get a TV deal. So he invited us up there, and we went and spent a ton of money. We didn't, man. This place looked amazing. Look, I mean, it was legit, right? And it's a small arena, but it still looked amazing. We sat there, and they were doing. They did film 6 TV shows. They would do multiple takes on promos. I mean, and this isn't a slam on Jeff. It's just, I'm like, oh man, I feel your pain, right? Because we'd gone through that, not the multiple takes part, but I get it. So don't want to do that again. Unless I have a team to do it. But that one year we were in Johnny and June's, which was the name of the bar. At the end of the year, we looked out, and Brian's got small kids. My son was small at the time. I'm like, dude, the problem with this place is there's 6 kids in the audience. Parents won't bring their kids here. We can't grow in this bar. We had room left in the bar. It's actually pretty cool because, by the time we got started, the adults have been drinking for an hour already. So the crowds are loud and rowdy, and sometimes we miss that part, not the drinking, but the super loud and rowdy, and just let yourself go, because adults, when they get to a certain point, unless they're crazy wrestling fans like we are, they don't let themselves go with wrestling. They like it, but they're so reserved. It's like, man, just let go.
That's one thing I really love about Taylor Plantation with PCW. It's intimate, but it's a more intimate atmosphere. But man, people just let go, and man,
just let go.
This crowd is fun.
Yeah, that's when we actually went out and started to explore, and Wrestlecade's growing, and that's where AML actually came from in like year 3 of Wrestlecade. So we started in reverse. We started the big show first, and decided to start doing the monthly deal to tell stories with. And now, Wrestlecade's coming back up on active year number 10. It's year 11, but we missed a year. So this is our 10th anniversary. And some pretty cool things happening. Now we take up both floors of the Benton instead of just downstairs. We have, and for those that don't know what it is, people say it's a wrestling show. Well, yeah, multiple wrestling shows. It's also multiple podcasts, multiple question and answer panels, costume contest or cosplay, whatever you want to call it, where they dress like their favorite wrestlers.
It's literally, it's a weekend that you don't want to sleep.
Yeah.
You literally don't want to sleep because you don't know what you're going to miss. I mean, you could walk in the local hotel and all of a sudden run into Jerry Lawler just sitting there, or, it like anything can happen Wrestlecade weekend. That's a shoot.
Yeah. No, it really is. And when we moved to Friday, we were going to kick off Friday nights, which we did for 7 years, and have our Showcase of Champions event on that Friday night, and then just go to bed. Well, somebody said, well, can we do something before that? Well, sure. And then somebody said, can we do something before that? Well, now this year we're kicking off at noon. with an RVD podcast at 12 noon on Friday. So
that'll be good.
But yeah, we were booked up everywhere else. He said, "Oh, I'll come in early. I don't care, whatever." So he's doing 12 o'clock on Friday. Shane Douglas podcast is right after that. Then Impact this year, for the first time ever, we've got an outside company coming in to do a pay-per-view. It's like not a, well, I guess it is a TV taping too, but their live pay-per-view is going to be that Friday night. And then Saturday is what a lot of people call the big day. And a lot of people come in just, especially the local folks, come in just for Saturday. But FanFest is from 10 to 3. And FanFest is, you know, for people who've never been, it's just, you know, now it's 3 huge rooms with your favorite wrestling stars and merch providers and vendors sitting behind tables. And you can meet the wrestlers. You can buy merch, title belts, DVDs, Blu-rays, old wrestling posters, figures. Oh my God, every kind of figure ever made. And real belt makers like Top Rope Belts has been with us since the beginning. So kind of need to mention them anyway, but they're always there with their belts on display. So that's pretty cool. Just depends on what you like. Some people like wrestling history and like to hear the Q&A panels. You know, we've had Q&A panels or reunions. We had last year we had the TNA 20th anniversary reunion panel, which was amazing. Jarrett was there. James Storm was there. Chris Harris was there. I don't know. You can go down the list. There's 8 to 10 people in that reunion panel. And we had ECW the year before that, Smoky Mountain the year before that. We've had Conrad Thompson there with Arn Anderson show 1 year. Bruce Pritchard was the year before that. These are after the Super Show on Saturday night, which is the big pay-per-view in the big room. And after that, and that's where the whirlwind comes in, and people talk about, oh my God, it's exhausting. So after being on your feet from 10 to 3 in FanFest room, 3 o'clock, you leave the FanFest room, go get in line for the Super Show. The doors open at 5, the bell time's at, doors open at 4, the bell time's at 5. That show's over by 7:30. 8-ish. Then there's a surprise podcast that's going to be announced probably next week. We just got the I's dotted and the T's crossed, and just the other day. That will be after the Super Show. And then we start over again on Sunday morning. I get no email. And Sunday morning, it starts with the worship service of George South. First thing that morning, it goes to a Q&A panel, which is the Omega reunion, which is huge for us Carolinians because that's where Matt and Jeff Hardy started. Shannon Moore started. Caprice Coleman started. C.W. Anderson got his start there. So it's going to be Omega reunion that morning. Ladies Night Out, women's show, and then the AML show finishes the afternoon off. So it is an exhausting whirlwind of 3 days, but it is something that I think personally all wrestling fans should experience at least once. Just do the whole weekend. I know people like the Saturday thing, and that's cool. And yes, Friday and Sunday are lighter. If you're just there for the meet and greet, Saturday's the day. But if it's not just about the meet and greets and about everything else and the camaraderie and the friendships and the conversation and seeing people at the hotel, man, Friday and Sunday are, to me, the better days.
Man, I just remember going to that. I've only gotten to go one Wrestlecade because of the timing. But, man, I think that's where I saw. Did you have the Lynch Mob a couple years ago?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's where I ran into Matt and Joey Lynch.
And good guy.
Met them, who were absolutely amazing. I saw, a couple guys. I don't know if you've heard of them, Pentagon and Ray Phoenix. I saw they're a couple up and comers. I saw them, and then I remember watching. Oh my gosh, it was a match between, and it just popped me so hard as a fan. It was Joey Mercury versus Ryback. Feed me more. And man, it was so, and you can see how petty Ryback was because he took a pedigree and then popped straight up from it and no-sold it completely.
That's funny.
There's a story about that match to be in the book.
I want to hear it all because
I'll tell you over dinner or lunch sometime. But yeah, that's oof.
Oh, that sounds like a good story.
That's a good story. Good story. But there's lots of stories like that because look, what people don't understand is yes, wrestlers are they're athletes and they're actors, but they're humans. And those stories where there's pain points within their personal story, that's usually what we get drawn to as fans because we pick up on that, right? We just know. It's like when Matt Hardy went back to SmackDown, and we knew the deal with him and Lita and Edge, right? Everybody knew, but they were wrestling. Oh my God, they're really gonna get in a fight here in a minute, man, because of the girlfriend thing, right? So
keep it professional.
There'd been heat between Ryback and Joey, and online wrestling fans, IWC and wrestling community, that they knew that, and it was when I heard this, it wasn't good.
And you know who else I met at Wrestlecade? And I swear he's probably one of the kindest, nicest human beings I ever met. New Jack.
New Jack's great. I'm not making, it's always said I'm not making eye contact with New Jack, but he's always been nice to me.
I mean, he was absolutely approachable and just chatting away and just like he knew you forever. I thought that was the coolest experience.
There's a good story about that too, because we had the ECW reunion and Ryback was obviously, he was in the Smoky Mountain reunion too. That was interesting, because that's where he got his start. Jim Cornette put them together, him and Mustafa.
Oh, Corny.
Corny put them together. So it's like, why is he there? So dude, that's where he started. Corny gave New Jack his start. But anyway, when he was on the ECW panel, and when he was up there, you knew he'd been out all night. And when we went down the panel, let them introduce themselves. And, right off the bat, he didn't introduce himself. What he said was, I'm not repeating it here, but, you can,
you can imagine.
Everybody's like, oh my God. Oh my God. It's a little,
Is there a recording of it somewhere?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
Hey, can you hear that? Can you hear that, Tracy?
Yeah, what is that?
That's so this
that's a beat?
Yeah.
That's the censor button. I loved it.
Oh, we're so petty.
It's all good. But look, we need to get both you guys out to Wrestlecade one year.
I want to come every year, Tracy.
Yeah.
It's tough for some people, especially if you're in retail, because it's right after Thanksgiving. It's that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I totally understand. And I just, I'm in retail, and that's one of our busier weekends.
Yeah, but you're the boss.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't always cut it either. I've got a great team that can handle that while I'm away. And every year I'm like, when it's over, I'm like, man, I'm not doing this again. I'm done.
So we were close to coming this coming year, but I think we're going to wait, try and maybe do it next year instead. So my son's birthday is November 25th. So
wow.
Well, that sounds fitting.
It's every year around Thanksgiving. So we're trying to plan to get out there sometime. So let me
reword this. Elliot's planning to come to Wrestlecade and bringing his son, but it's for Elliot. It's definitely for Elliot.
I like it. I used to take my kids to Disney every year, and when they got a little bit older, like Dad, my son especially, Dad, why are we going back to Disney? I'm like 15 now. I was like, because you like Disney.
Yeah.
Oh, I already told the wife I'm going to Disney. I've never been to Disney, but I'm leaving the kids at home. And I'm going to Disney.
So like for me, I know that I'm gonna want to. You good, Shane?
Yeah, I hear
a
lot in my ear.
Is that better? So sorry. So I know that like I'm gonna want to meet everyone, try and take pictures and all that good stuff. So I gotta prepare better.
I got you. So let's just plan on it next year. And if you talk to me right after Thanksgiving, anytime between after the day after Wrestlecade and January the 2nd, I'll tell you I'm not doing it in 2023. But January 2nd, I call Brian. It's the same thing every year. I call Brian and say, and we think about this guy at Wrestlecade this year. He said, dude, you said you're not doing it again. I mean, it's like this now it's kind of a running joke, but
wrestling does have that effect, man.
Yeah, low down podcast be good there.
Wrestling in general.
So exhausted. Oh, what are you talking about?
Yep.
So, and look, it just happened earlier. I told you about told you about the blog post or whatever. Some online guy, and he gave the show going numbers. He got the attendance wrong, but at the end he's like, he called me out, and I was offended. He said, I treated the general admission fans differently than I treated the VIP guests, rows 1 through 5, and the ones in the meet and greet.
Wow.
I'm like, dude, what are you talking about?
Well, that's somebody that doesn't know you.
Well, he said, promoter Tracy Myers needs to fix this immediately, and I can't figure out what that is, and I can't leave a comment. I just if it's broke, I want to know, but there's nothing specific, right? But I got thinking about it, and so I'll kind of go back for a minute. We'll wrap this up. I do have to pack, so I apologize. Not about packing. I got to get up for a 5:35.
We can expect the caller drop anytime now.
There you go. Yes, absolutely. Get ready in about 30 seconds. I got the countdown on. When we had our special guests, which are off TV people, I mean, I don't know what they are, right? We would put them in a gym, gimmick table, trainees, and you would have lines, and you'd corral the crowd as best you can. In that situation, that environment, you had two types of people. You had two types of people that really made that situation bad. The person who knows what's going on, they try to get over, right? Which means if it's $25 for a photo op and an autograph, and an extra 20 for a figure to be signed, they put the figure in their bag, and they don't tell you, and they get to the table, and then they throw the figure on the table. The talent can't say no, right? Well, they can call what they want to, but it's stealing, because that's how we make our money. Sure. Right? That's how we afford to bring that guest. And they don't understand that. And I mean, you should expect them to, but they don't. All right. So how do we change that? Take them out of the situation. Right.
Yep.
Then there's small kids who don't understand, just want an autograph. We don't say no to that, but it makes it awkward for the talent. Absolutely. And it almost always kept us from starting our shows on time. And I hate that. I want to start my show on time. So what we started doing, bringing them in, we put them in a separate room. So you buy that ticket, you get to go in the other room. You don't even see them until they come out. I don't know how many WWE shows you've been to or AEW shows you've been to. How many times you see the stars before the show without buying a ticket? Ever?
Only after. So, barely.
I mean, indie shows have always been different, but I had to find a way to kind of control the crowd and control that environment, because it was it made the shows start late, and it put the stars or the talent in a awkward situation, and there's too much stuff going on, quite honestly. So we put them in a room by themselves. So I got to thinking about it. This quote unquote journalist was probably angry because he couldn't get a quote or something for his podcast for free from FTR, one of the talent, because he couldn't see them. That would probably be my guess if I'm overthinking it, just knowing that, some of that community. But I don't know this writer either. So, but I'm going to find out who this is. I'm going to ask, because I really want to know if it's anything other than that. What is it, and how can we fix it? If we were truly rude, what way were we rude? Give me specific examples and how we fix it, because that's the kind of person I am and kind of business owner I am. I want it done right, and we take pride in taking care of our fans and doing the best we can. Even though, like I said, that fire hose was shooting full strength coming into that little school on Sunday, but I heard nothing but glowing reports till I read that, and I was kind of caught off guard right before we went on the air. So what do you know?
Well, Tracy, I can tell you, I guarantee you weren't rude under any circumstances. So it sounds like somebody with a little bit of butt hurt, like like you're saying, but it's unfortunate.
We have heard that since we started doing it. And is that the perfect scenario? Like, what do you mean I can't FTR? We can't just walk up and say, hey,
no.
No. I mean, if you did, the show starts at 9:00. We don't make any money, and it kind of sucks. But that's not a perfect way to do it, and I still don't know a perfect way to do it. But it's working a heck of a lot better that way, because nobody steals. The show starts on time. The talent likes it a lot better. So yeah, as long as they know that they're not going to be able to sell the merch.
Yeah.
It's turn and burn. But anyway.
Well, Tracy, I'll finish with this question just because there's a lot of people, including myself, that have the same mindset. So you have these wrestling companies that, you know, they're drawn healthy. I think I would say a healthy indie crowd of 300, 350. You know, what would be your advice from the mind of a promoter, a very successful promoter, to help these companies get to that next level?
Oh, promoters. Yeah. So, don't book for you, book for the fans. So you got to know your audience. We actually said that earlier. I didn't know the question was coming, but I mean, honestly think that's key. We know our spot in the wrestling world, and we book for that, and those fans come. And if, you know, you're coming expecting a GCW show, that's not going to happen. Which that's not a bad thing. We've talked about them before too. If you're coming expecting a, you know, flip flop 7 matches of flippity floppity, that ain't happening either. So know your fan base.
Yeah.
Know what they like. Listen to them. They're not always right. I think I heard Kevin Nash say that once. You know, that they're not always right. But, you know, and I know you know this. You know, there's talent that they're over with your fans, but they may not be if they were the champ. That's just a work in progress, and don't be afraid to admit when you've done something wrong, whether it's, you know, in the locker room with your talent and booking on the show. I don't know, man. That's and, you know, put a good team together, because you can't do it by yourself. You know, I know some guys that try and they do a really good job. I couldn't do it by myself. So, not with the quality. And I think the question was, you know, if they're trying to grow. So if you're trying to grow, get a team. If it's just you, probably not going to happen, you know? And you know this too, and I'll end with this, you know, invest in the company, you know, get a professional logo. For God's sake, get somebody to make your poster that doesn't look like your third graders making it. Brian and I have a collection of bad wrestling posters.
Your own?
No, not ours.
Oh, I was gonna say, I've never seen a bad AML poster.
But other people's, and, you know, you make fun of it. Look, they may think those posters are great, and that's fantastic. They're spending the money, and everybody, and there's shows at different levels and different budgets, and I get it. Everybody doesn't have that kind of money, but this may be the best advice I ever give any promoter. If you think posters are too expensive, go to Fiverr.com. That's not where we get our posters made, by the way. However,
$5 or $10.
$10 poster.
Yep.
I've had some special event posters made. If you'll go to the AML Wrestling Facebook page and you'll look for our, let me see, bunkhouse. No, was it the bunkhouse match? Yeah, the bunkhouse match poster. That was a Fiverr poster because I wanted something to look totally different, because designers have a tendency to, you know, their styles look the same, right? So I wanted something that totally stood out as, oh my God, that's somebody different. So that's special.
Yep.
So I went to Fiverr. I think the poster was $10. The guy been making UFC posters. It was amazing. I had people wanting copies of that poster at the event. So now when we have I probably should have had one for Dawson's FTR, but maybe for selfish reasons, I knew that match would sell itself, but kind of wish I had a special poster made just for that match, for nobody else, just the Dawsons, because they've been kind of, even though they're turds, they've been kind of, you know, they're OGs, they're day one guys. So, but yeah, look, Fiverr.com may be the best advice I give any wrestling promoter. And look, even my local competition in this area, man, I'm tired of looking at your crappy posters on Facebook.
Well, and it's because they put a black eye on a good product. You know, if you don't take quality, and, you know, you have if you have multiple companies in the same area, one that puts a lot of effort into their product, their overall product, like as you, and you have another one that taints it by, you know, actually drawing people to a lackluster show based on their lackluster graphics.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Look, I think that's just part of respecting the audience too. And maybe I'm wrong about that. I know some of this it might be generational,
because, you know, I'm 51. So when I was buying music, you know, now you buy air, son. I'm screaming at the clouds here. I can't buy real music no more. It's all in the air. But anyway.
Well, Tracy, we appreciate your time, man. We know you got to catch an early flight in the morning. So we just want to say thank you once again. Real quick, Wrestlecade.com is where they can get tickets at.
Yeah, man, you get tickets there. Good tickets left. And no, there are no floor seats, VIP. All those go. It took 7 minutes for those to sell out this year. None will be available. We won't open up any more floor. There's no more floor space. But that being said, there's really not a bad seat anywhere in Wrestlecade for any of the events, including the Super Show, pay-per-view, the Q&A panels, generally less than 300 people. They're up on a stage. That's when they get intimate, answer your questions. You can come up to the mic, even if you want to say, you're my favorite wrestler ever. You know, that's anything. It's that kind of event. So yeah, Wrestlecade.com.
Well, guys, there you have it. Founder of Wrestlecade, founder of AML Wrestling, Mr. Tracy Myers. Tracy, we appreciate it, man. Have a good evening. Enjoy your flight, and we'll catch you on the next time.
Thank you so much, Tracy.
Guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, there you have it with Tracy Myers. Man, always a good interview.
Man, he's just one of the best people I think I've ever met, and it's not coincidence that you have one of the best people running the best wrestling promotion, drawing one of the best crowds. It all goes hand in hand, and it's just so absolutely humbling just to even be able to speak to him because he's just a man full of wisdom.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, to see the success he's had with wrestling, AML Wrestling, Wrestlecade, the other success he has with his other businesses is definitely an inspiration. The man stays busy. He takes he's willing to take time out of his busy schedule to you know, come on the show, and we're beyond grateful for that. So once again, Tracy, thank you. A little round of applause for you. And guys, before we continue, we would just want to say this next part of the show, the continuation, is brought to you by Day Soul Coffee Lab. Guys, if you're not aware, I consider myself a coffee connoisseur. I absolutely love coffee. And Day Soul Coffee Lab is the absolute best coffee I believe I've ever had. So they're based out of Birmingham, Alabama. You can go on over to daysoulcoffeelab.co, enter the promo code LOWDOWN, and get 10% off. Guys, if you're going to drink coffee, you might as well make it great coffee. So go to Day Soul Coffee Lab. They'll deliver it straight to your door, and you can even get a monthly subscription. So head on over there and take advantage of that. Promo code LOWDOWN. So Shane, we had a good weekend. We had a heck of a show in Camden. You opened us up. Finally got to check something off your bucket list.
Yeah, man, that was an honor.
So tell us, you know, I don't think everybody doesn't know the story behind that and how long you've been working on that. So I don't know if you want to share any of that. And
there's no better platform than tell the whole story. Well, I've alluded to it, but now it's over. I can talk about it. So,
you know, not too bad for an Outlaw Mud show, by the way.
Outlaw Mud show. Yeah. Anyway, not you. Yeah, let me sip. Exactly. Let me sip some of this amazing tea.
Yeah. So
the Camden show is it's a product of a lot of work. So years ago, I was in talks with doing a similar show in Camden in the same exact venue, the same exact people, ironically. And you know, we were talking along the whole process. We were like, everything was a done deal. Kind of hadn't heard from them in a while, and everything went dark. So I finally got a hold of the person I was working with, and they were like, "We chose to go a different direction." Okay. So undoubtedly there was this. Remember, I thought this was a thing in the bag. You know, I lived in Kershaw County at the time too, so I was like, "Oh, yeah, this is my show. You know, this is going to happen because I'm from here." You know, some guy from North Carolina came in, and of course, brought all these names of the past and made these promises, and end up snaking the show from me. So what I did that year, I just, I'm not a petty person at all, Elliot.
Nope.
If you do wrong by me, I'm not going to one up you. But in all actuality, I am that way. Like if you're going to snake something from me and you're going to make me appear something I'm not, I'm going to do something to one up you.
Well,
I'm just that way.
Well, and in this
Wired
instance,
that way.
it was kind of, one of those things, rightfully so, right? You had someone who came in who, undercut you, but then on top of that, they took advantage of the town.
Oh yeah,
of
made him
our community.
Someone who's business owners mad.
Yeah, someone who's not even from around here at that. So,
and I may or may not have had something to do with his license getting suspended in the state of South Carolina.
Oh, well.
I'm petty. But anyhow, anyway,
but if he's doing stuff that he should be doing anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely.
Yeah.
I don't have to lie
well
to me.
Yeah.
I don't have to make anything or bend anything to make it seem like you're doing something wrong. You're clearly doing something wrong, and karma. But anyhow, so yeah, we ended up having the show that year for the Elgin Police Department.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That was out of revenge and spite.
So that's funny because I never realized that.
Yeah.
But I never. So here's the thing.
One more detail that nobody ever realizes that I haven't told anybody. But
Law and Order.
Yeah, Law and Disorder.
Oh, that's right, Law and Disorder.
But here's how petty I was that year. And folks, please, I have matured a lot since then.
I know one thing you did.
Hang on, before I forget. So this show in Camden was supposed to happen on XYZ date.
Correct.
Right? So this show, this other company came in and got that show for the same exact date. So Shane went in the next town over, booked the other police department for the week prior.
Yep. There was some
oops.
Now, and if I remember correctly, you had some posters that you posted and they went behind and ripped them down.
I'll never forget it. Yep. Never forgive them for it either. So yeah, and who am I? I'm just a little outlaw mud show at the time,
At least that's what they kept saying, right?
That's what everybody keeps saying.
Of course, around that time too, we were probably running some of the. That was pre-COVID. We were running 400 a week in North Springs.
Oh, we were killing it, man. We were on top of the indie world in South Carolina, and I still think we're there. And I got to toot our horn. I think we do an incredible job, collectively from top to bottom with Sugars and Case and myself and all the rest of the team, everybody that's contributed.
Well, and that's not to say other companies aren't doing well, but if you're not gonna, here's the thing, if you're in an area and you're not gonna toot your own horn and present yourself as the best, then how can people think you're the best?
You have to have full confidence in yourself. People are going to be confident in you. You better be confident in yourself. One
thing, a mutual friend of ours, I was speaking to him before the show on Saturday, and he mentioned, and this is a guy that we know personally, that when it comes to graphics and sound and stuff, it's something he does a lot of, deals with a lot with, and he straight up said, listen, the last time I came to a PCW show, this branding that you guys now have is 1,000 times more marketable and better, and it's a huge facelift from what it was. And
PCW's logos are amazing, but dude, the color scheme, that blue and the orange, black,
pops
so hot. And
that's what he alluded to as well. He's like, your colors. He's like the way the logo looks, everything just looks really good. He's like, and he even started talking about how he had some ideas that if in the event that we needed to reach out to him, he had some ideas to help with some stuff. So,
but let's just. It's so awesome and humbling to realize how much people that aren't wrestling fans necessarily care enough, because it's their friends that are working
Yeah, sure.
this show or working the company. This person, I think we know we're talking about the same person, but the same person had such a caring heart to come up to me at the show and first wanted to say, "Hey, I don't want to step on toes." All he cared about was helping, but not stepping on toes.
Exactly.
So to have that kind of mindset it took me by surprise.
Well,
it shouldn't have, because I know how this person is and I know who this person is, but just to be able to present it that way. And I went in the back and I found Ethan Case. I said, "Ethan, I got a person. He doesn't want to step on toes, but he said, give him a few seconds and he'll fix everything." Like, as far as the sound goes, because the music sounded fine. It was the speaking.
Well, it was one of those things that, it sounded good, but it was one of those things that there's something that can be done to sound better. We just can't figure it out.
And only somebody that's in that works with this would know.
Yeah.
And he started saying words and he's like, "I'm telling you, I can fix it, but I don't want to step on toes." And I said, "Ethan," he said he can fix it. Can I bring him back here behind the curtain and have him work with the people at the booth? He said, "Yes." And that actually took me by surprise, because Ethan's a very, very prideful person.
Sure.
He loves his students and he loves that they're doing the work and that they're learning.
But he also loves teaching,
exactly,
and coaching, and helping people learn and get better. So,
and this person has an unbelievably amazing way of teaching people and working with people that are like all different personalities. So he came back there, did a little twist here, and then talking to a couple of the people in the back, and then intermission went underneath the ring and did a little more tweaking, and by the time he came back from intermission, it sounded like it should have right at the beginning. It sounded like it should have the whole night. But
yeah, this person he approached it with two things: honor and humility, which I've learned a lot from this person as well. So yeah, by the end of the night, man, everything was sounding great. Heck of a show. You had several matches. You had Moody show out. Man, that guy, launch pad when the straps go up, right?
He's phenomenal. And again, everybody remembers Kurt Angle. I talked this before, but Kurt Angle's big thing was when he got aggressive, hit that next level, the straps came down, Moody's goes up.
Yep.
So he starts with straps down, and then when he hits that next level, the straps go up, and it's like, uh-oh.
And I love his finisher too, a modified angle slam.
So of course,
so
it's fitting, right?
Everyone knows the Olympic slam or angle slam, whichever one you want to call it. Moody does a version of that, but he when he goes to do it, instead of falling straight back after he gets him in the air, he spins a couple times and then falls back. And man, it's beautiful, and there was one spot in his match where I didn't think he was going to be able to get up BK like he did. And I just remember thinking, holy crap, Moody's stronger than I thought.
Oh, so good, dude.
But yeah, so great matches throughout the night. We also saw a premiere for a tag team, if I remember correctly, and the Heat Seekers.
Mm. Man, they're so good.
And something happened that I don't think either one of us was expecting. They faced off with Buff and Fluff, one of the premier tag teams with most over tag teams, probably in the Mid-Atlantic, as well as PCW.
And you'd almost think, because this is, because Buff and Fluff is the more seasoned PCW tag team, the OGs, right? OG PWA guys that you think, this is a shoe-in. You got this new team coming in, and there's no way that Buff and Fluff loses, right? That's the mindset. But we saw what happened.
Yeah, we saw Matt Sigmund and Elliot Russell, the Heat Seekers, beat Buff and Fluff. We also found out on the pre-show that we have the Workhorsemen coming in on September 10th.
Uh-oh. Oh, boy.
So let me go ahead and tell you, everyone who's listening, if you don't have your tickets, if you haven't bought tickets yet, you better go ahead and do that. Because once word gets out that
and we're only 2 weeks away.
Yeah, we're 2 weeks out.
You wait, this is
once
announced.
word gets around that the Workhorsemen are going to be at Palmetto Championship Wrestling, guys, you may not even have standing room.
It gives me chills thinking about it. I remember when James Drake broke my nose. Yeah.
I mean,
well, I forgive you, Drake.
That's just that's going to be a heck of a show. I mean, with that alone,
and we don't even know what they're doing. What are they coming for?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would anticipate they're there to work, but
horses,
workhorsemen.
See, gosh dang it, man. We get talking about Anthony Henry's wife at the show, and sure enough, oh, he's coming. Oh, great. That's not good.
Well, so that's Ethan Case actually let that out the bag on the pre-show. Yeah. So I'm not saying anything that he hasn't already announced. So
I'm excited.
Yes.
So here's the thing, man. Something special. JD Drake, James Drake, whatever you want to call him.
Blue collar.
The
blue collar bad. Blue collar bad.
That's right. So we can take out the E on our show.
That's right.
but no, like here you got JD Drake, James Drake, and you have Anthony Henry. Individually, they're two of the best professional wrestlers in the world. Together, I don't think there's anybody that can touch them.
So I remember when they won the Evolve Tag Team Championships.
Oh my gosh, nobody saw that coming, and it blew up. Was that Charlotte for Evolve? I think it was Charlotte. It was something in North Carolina. I had to look it up, but I remember, and then they went on this run, and like nobody it was just phenomenal.
Well, and people forget, Drake was the Evolve Heavyweight Champion for a while, or the WWN
Heavyweight Champion. Austin Theory was the Evolve Heavyweight Champion, and then they had that match on the WWE Network.
Heck of a match, by the way.
That I'm sure got Austin Theory signed.
Yeah, and
wasn't long after that.
Well, and
it's Austin Theory now, by the way.
Yeah, it's no longer just Theory; it's Austin Theory. We kind of alluded to that earlier with Tracy. You're seeing stuff like that change. People getting their names back, but man, I'm excited to. Well, first, anytime Anthony Henry or JD Drake is in a building, it's a special night.
And folks, let this be a testament that good independent wrestling companies are where you need to be putting your money, because James Drake, now JD Drake, I think I would dare say single-handedly put Palmetto Championship Wrestling on his back and to the forefront. Because if it wasn't for JD Drake, I don't even think there would be a PCW.
Oh yeah, he
put on some. I mean, toward the beginning, he's one of the OGs. I think he started second show. I never forget. He had a 4-way match against Rob Killjoy, Kid Chaos, and there was a fourth person in there. It might have been Shay McGrady or something. But you had this big guy and these 3 smaller guys, and he's just come such a long way. And he was good then, in 2015.
Well, I remember one of the matches that really sticks out to me was JD Drake and Shay McGrady in Vive Church, where Shay beat Drake for the belt. And man, you talking about people that went crazy. And
the Boons.
No, God!
Oh, yes.
Ethan will love that when he hears that. Brings back good memories.
Man, so, but seriously, I mean, you had, Drake had held the title for ungodly amount of time,
deservingly so.
Absolutely, and the decision was made to
put Shay Shay over that night? I don't know who was the producing at the time, but I know I was running sound. I may have even been announcing. I don't remember if I was or not. But I remember it happened, and people were just like, "Whoa, what happened? Like, this happened just now."
And it was Shay that beat Drake for the belt at Spring Valley as well.
Oh, really?
Remember the Abyss show?
Huh?
Or
No.
Yeah, or there was another show where
So
Shay beat Drake.
So something happened at one of the shows. It might have been the Vibe show where Shay Shay won, but something happened to where Drake got the belt back. Like like he won, but maybe the ref didn't see it, or
it's been so
yeah.
long. I just love reminiscing on all the good memories, man, and a lot of the good memories of PCW in the past, all the way to today. Some of my favorite memories are with James Drake. I just think there's
you had a couple good matches with Drake.
I had one, and I don't need any more. Okay.
Yeah.
Was
that the same show that you almost got like choke slammed through the stage?
No, I'll pull the curtain back a little bit. So this was at the Warrior Warehouse. I find out I get to work Drake. Whee! Okay, I was all excited and nervous, of course.
Sure.
You know, rightfully so. And he tells me, we're talking. He's like, all right, one thing you don't do. You know, because the chop sort of thing, right? Drake loves chops. I love chops. You know, and he's like, don't chop the back. Don't chop my back. Oh, okay, Drake, no problem. Well, you get out when the music hits. You get out there, you forget everything, and Drake was just in this precarious position. You know, kind of like draped over the middle rope. You know, facing hard cam, and it was just. His back was just there, like
exposed.
I was like, okay, and I didn't just chop his back, but like I went straight
double-handed?
up diamond cutter.
Oh
like
my god,
the diamond cutter sign, both hands across his back twice, and he got up and he looked at me, and I just knew I messed up. And he started doing that James Drake famous 30 quick, the 30 chops, and then he chopped me back and. Needless to say, I had my nose broken in that match too. I don't think that was a receipt, but
could have been.
He's not going to deny it. But it was fun, man. I having him involved with Palmetto Championship Wrestling grew me tremendously. Both as a person and as a promoter. So I have a lot of thanks to give James Drake, and I'm just excited anytime he's able to come back. And Anthony Henry, who's in a league of his own as well. It's an honor, man, just to be able to have a ring of honor.
Yeah. Well, we, people we saw this, see what you did there, by the way.
Thanks.
People we've seen on PCW here recently, we've been able to see several people grow. James Johnson faced off with Drew Adler this past week. Drew Adler was our second interview.
And how long has he been the PCW champion? Drew
Adler, this is his third reign.
Yeah, but it seems like each reign's been a year long each time.
Yeah,
but he can't be stopped. Drew Adler is another freak of nature athlete who does he's 6'3", 6'4",
yep,
maybe 240. We're just guessing. But man, these kicks he does, these high angle knees that he does, he's spinning roundhouse knees. He's a freak. And he's another one that has, I think the people that really stand apart are the ones that hit that next level, that next gear in a match. We alluded to, who were we talking about earlier that does it?
Moody
does it. Yep. Straps up. That's next level. Okay. That's a sign of intelligence and ability to get to that next level. Adler does it.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody has that next level, and ones that do, watch out.
Yeah, and you saw. I mean, we've seen James Johnson and Adler go at it multiple times. One of Adler's first matches I saw was against James Johnson.
Snack battle.
The snack battle. That's right.
And Drew hasn't lost to James since then.
Yep.
That match, James Johnson actually beat Drew Adler. You know, undoubtedly some underhanded tactics with Mountain Dew and Doritos kind of upset Drew's stomach a little bit. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, ever since that match, I'll never forget it. That set Drew to the next level.
But you know, I haven't seen a bad match between those two yet. One of the best spots I believe I've ever seen at PCW was between James Johnson and Drew Adler, and that was a swinging net breaker off the top rope.
That where he broke that.
That's where he broke his collarbone. But man, was it beautiful!
Sounded amazing too.
Yep.
Yeah, you knew that was bad.
But they've done that twice though.
Yep.
The first time it was the second time he broke his collarbone. First time they did it, it was at North Springs. Second time they did it, it was I think it was in not Taylor. North Seven Oaks.
Seven Oaks Park.
Yep, that's the second time they did it. But man, yeah, I enjoy.
PCW has a lot. Going back to my original thought, people, you need to be getting out there, and I don't just say it because PCW is hot right now, but you need to get out there and support these local independent wrestling companies, the good ones. You can quickly tell a good one.
Sure,
just look at the promotional material. Just start there. Start with their ownership. You know, start there. You can tell if you're going to like it or not just from that. I think from that initial interaction.
If someone's willing, and Tracy alluded to this as well, if someone's willing to get a good looking flyer or graphic created, chances are they're going to have a good show.
Oh yeah, and at least you're going to go in there expecting a good one.
Exactly,
and that's the name of the game. But y'all, these PWA guys
and gals,
and soon to be gals, it brings a tear, man, because just thinking how far they are and with such how little time they've been in the business. Alex Avion, if y'all, I mean, take Ricochet, mix him with Leo Rush
and Montez Ford,
mix him with Montez Ford,
but make him only like 5'11", 6 foot, 165, 75 pounds.
Yeah, and he looks good.
He's young. He's very athletic,
natural, God-given talent, dude. And he does those like Montez, those dramatic, delayed splashes, which I think look amazing. Looking at all the talent coming out of the PWA, I would be, if I'm a major company and I get my eyes on him, he would be the one that I see that I'd want because he's still moldable a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, sky's the limit for that kid.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, Fluff, to be a guy his size and be able to incorporate that into,
and he can move,
become, and he can go. James Johnson, of course.
Sean Legacy. Sean Legacy was established, went to the PWA,
and he's only gotten better.
Got refined. Have done some training, to my understanding, under Ethan. Refined some stuff. Chris gotten crisper on some things, and man, he's just
he is what 6'1", probably 250, easy, jacked. I mean,
250 or 215. I'd say 215. He's just so cut.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, he's a monster.
I could be bad with numbers. He'd like to be 250. I'm gonna give him 225, and then I'm gonna message him because I'm gonna message him later tonight. But dude, he does things like a 4, he does like a 450.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he does some ridiculous things that just seeing in person will put you in awe. He's somebody that should be next level as well. So the moral of the story is go out.
Mason Miles.
Mason is amazing. He's amazing.
Very classy.
Thank you. Oh, no. Okay. I see what you did there. But yeah, so Mason Miles. He's an absolutely amazing human being. His work is second to none. Chance Riser. Oh my God. He's a phenomenal
Yeah, he's
talent to have on a show.
He's gone from the millennial to the influencer.
Patrick Scott.
Okay. Patty Daddy.
So I'm going back to my original point is get out there and support your local independent wrestling companies, the good ones, because the people you see on these shows today are going to be the ones that are under TV tomorrow.
Well, and the reality is,
Some already are.
80% of the people we just mentioned, I'd say maybe 70 to 80% of the people we just mentioned have all been on AEW Dark or Dark Elevation, NXT. So, man, speaking of
a guy named Yuta,
Wheeler Yuta,
PCW guy,
yeah, current Ring of Honor Pure Champion. Speaking of champions and stuff, I want to segue into AEW this past week, where we saw Moxley just straight up dominate CM Punk to become the undisputed AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And at the end of the night, he did not mince any words when it came to talking about Raw and SmackDown, and basically said, "Hey, if your friends are watching that crap on TV, tell them they need to get their effing life together."
So much for turning down the language.
Yeah.
You know,
A lot of people didn't like it. I personally loved it.
Depends what the end goal is. If I'm going to like it or not.
Well, yeah, not
necessarily Punk being champion. But
sure.
I want to know what they do.
So I've got two theories, and I don't mean Austin. One of my theories is pretty obvious. He's legit hurt and just can't go. My other theory is that, and we've kind of read some of these on dirt sheets. Moxley thought it was fitting that he completely demolished Punk on Dynamite so that Punk can come back and win the belt back in Chicago. And we also know that Moxley doesn't like the interim championship monarch, which, in my opinion, they should have never done the interim thing.
They're doing it too much. Now they're doing it with the women.
Well, yes, they should have just stripped Moxley of the title like any other company will do.
I think that's lack of professional wrestling experience.
And I would agree. I think that's where TK was trying to do something to appease others. But in turn, it's hurt their booking in the long run. And for me, I think if you have Moxley as the undisputed champion already, you didn't have to squash Punk. You didn't have to rush Punk back, and then they can just face each other all out.
But, I mean, they're still leaving it booked as Punk and Moxley. That's what I keep looking for. I keep looking for if they change this match, because if they change it, he's hurt.
Well, and that could change Wednesday night.
It could change the night of All Out. This is what I would do. I would leave the match as is, and if he doesn't wrestle, I'd have it like planned as if he is, make it seem like he is, and then
he comes out. I'm not wrestling tonight.
But he's got to show up, right? It's Chicago.
That's what I'm saying. He shows up.
I was thinking he doesn't show up, but he has to show up. I would agree.
I'm thinking he shows up, and him and MJF have formed some type of alliance.
Oh boy. Ooh. I guess you get. I don't know if you can turn. I don't know if you can get a heel reaction out of Chicago for Punk in any way, shape, or form.
Well, and maybe that's not the end goal. Maybe the end goal is to show that Moxley's just a piece of crap. Not saying he is.
Punk goes over.
Not saying he is in real life. I'm saying, he comes out. He introduces MJF. Everybody wants MJF. Everybody wants MJF back. Everybody also wants MJF as the champion.
It would be so good. So good. MJF is involved here, right? That's where we got to start. So MJF has to be involved here.
Yeah, sure. And
I think that too.
And I think that, but with MJF, here's the thing with MJF. MJF could show up, win, get the big pop and stuff, and completely turn on the crowd, and everybody would
what if
then immediately still hate him?
what if Punk does wrestle Moxley and MJF screws him in Chicago? That'd get nuclear heat. The crowd would be upset because Punk lost, but it would continue that story without having the belt involved.
Yeah.
Because I think that story is big enough without the belt.
Yeah, I could see that.
So there's a lot of different ways.
But
I'm intrigued.
To me, you have to get the belt involved, though. I think it only makes sense.
Then the Punk has to be on the belt. The belt has to be on Punk because the money's in the chase. That's always been my mantra. Well, Ethan Case taught me that, but there's more money in the chase for the belt than there is in the person just running along defending it.
Yeah.
So I think if Punk wins the belt, I think it definitely sets up MJF for that chase, which is where the money is. But then it goes back to my original thought, like, okay, what was the point? Like, why have him get squashed and then have him go 3 weeks later to the pay-per-view just to win?
I think the point was just the fact to get rid of the interim championship.
They put themselves in that corner.
But
they did it to themselves.
But also to make Moxley look really strong.
Which it did. It definitely did that. It almost made it look almost unbeatable. Like he just beat CM Punk.
Well, I think they want that. I mean, if you think about it, their WWE Reigns looks unbeatable. I mean, 700 something days now as champ.
People getting tired of it though.
They are getting tired of it, but at the same time, you expect it to come to an end soon. But in the end, we don't know.
I think he drops the belt to Drew. But, we'll see.
I think he drops one of them to Drew.
Yeah, something's happening there. Has to. But, sticking on it.
Which and so you also have announced today was what, Eddie Kingston versus Ishii.
Yeah, Ishii. That's gonna be.
Which I watched them against each other on NJPW several months ago. And man, yeah, like you just said, stiff. That was a match where they were throwing some haymakers for sure.
Strong style, brother.
Yep. You also have this Wednesday we have United Empire versus the Bucks and Kenny Omega.
And this is another one where
I completely missed that one.
We completely. We
no
agree.
I did not miss that one. I picked United Empire, but now here's what I think is going to happen. I think that the Elite is going to beat United Empire, and I believe Dark Order is going to beat Best Friends. Then at All Out, you have Dark Order with Hangman in their corner versus the Elite. I think we have a Hangman turn on Dark Order. Joins the Elite, sets up the Elite, Undisputed Elite, and maybe we get a Jay White sighting. That's my thoughts.
It's a good one. I think Hangman going back home. I think is fitting. Makes sense.
But we also know recently the Good Brothers, their contracts went up, correct?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
And
where are they going?
Well, that's
they still got a lot left in the tank. I don't think they're. I can tell you one place they're not going to go. Not going back to Stamford, Connecticut. So did they go back to Japan?
And I thought about Japan.
They're loved in Japan. So.
Well, yeah, they're highly loved. There you have the Bullet Club, Japan. They could easily get back in the picture there, which they've kind of been in the picture with Bullet Club anyways, even still with Impact. Them and Jay White, if I remember correctly, they got rid of God, if I remember. Is it Tama and Tonga?
Oh, Girls of Destiny?
Yeah. They helped get rid of them, get them kicked out of the Bullet Club, so to speak. So I mean, there's always that possibility of them going back to New Japan. Yeah, I mean, there's just who knows, right? I mean, I guess in the end, we don't really know. We can speculate. You've had you now have the tournament for the women's interim championship.
There's that word again.
And I think that honestly, I think this is just going to be a way to get the belt back on Britt Baker. I mean, because for being honest, since Britt Baker lost the championship, it's gone down, right? So she's the face of the women's division. I love Thunder Rosa.
Interesting story there, huh?
Yeah.
She hurt or not hurt? Everybody's saying, a lot of people are saying she was just mad that she found out she was going under it all out. Old injury card.
So
interesting.
So it's funny you say that because she and Simon Miller were at Simon Miller for Ups and Downs. Simon Miller. He wrestled in San Antonio, and Thunder Rosa was there making an appearance. I don't know if she wrestled or if she was just there appearing, but I feel like she wrestled that evening too. But it was interesting because if I remember correctly, it's kind of all the same week that went down. So I don't know.
Oh, interesting. But if she's hurt,
if she's hurt, I hope she recovers quickly and gets healed up. But if this is just a ploy because feelings are hurt, then next. That's my take. Hey, if you're faking an injury because you don't like the possible outcome, all right, let's move on. Next in line. So
I think the match will be good at on Dynamite though. It's the tag match. Toni Storm and Hikaru Shida. Holy Shida. Versus Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. I think that'll be good.
And
I like Toni Storm, man. She's got this I don't know what it is. It's not even her work in the ring because I think she needs a lot of.
She's got a look.
She's got an awesome look. That whole punk rock, like the Ashley Massaro type, like mixed with, what's her name off of Terminator 2.
Okay,
that kind of that mixed with the glasses and the punk rock look. I just think it's Sarah Connor. I can think of her name.
I think every time I hear her music, I think Barracuda.
For sure, definitely has that vibe.
So
remember, hey, what's Ethan Case always teach? What's the least important thing about professional wrestling? The wrestling.
I mean,
it's entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, she and maybe who knows? Maybe this is a way for her to get pushed. But every time we've thought somebody was going to get pushed, ends up something happens, and we thought Ruby Soho was going to have the big push, right? And she has she's doing a lot of stuff on Rampage. Had a mixed tag team match with Ortiz against who'd she wrestle against the other night?
Is Santana gone? Or is he still there?
So Santana messed up his knee.
Well, I heard they were having a lot of heat between each other, and one was leaving.
Santana right now is legit out, but rumors were, like you said, there was legit heat. Like Santana was just he's not happy at AEW anymore. So I don't know.
Something happened between those two.
But he did legit mess up his knee.
Be a lot of injuries.
Well, that was a freak accident. He got in the ring, did one move, and went down, held his knee popped. So, but you had Ortiz and so Ortiz and Ruby Soho has been feuding with Anna Jay and other members of the JAS, as well as Sammy Guevara and Ty Mello now. So,
speaking of JAS, that's Jake Hager versus Bryan Danielson with Chris Jericho on commentary. Now that, sign me up, folks.
well, and you also have Daniel Garcia teasing a face turn recently. Had a heck of a match with Bryan Danielson.
He's good.
He's very good in ring. I still don't know. I'm still iffy on his charisma and stuff. Like when he talks on the mic, he's just not.
Doesn't have the believability factor in his face.
Exactly. And
I can't get behind it either.
But some of that could be him just being so young, and and maybe that's something where they're trying to get him with the right person to coach him on that.
Send Hook,
bro. I love Hook.
Where's Danhausen? Where's he at?
So Danhausen has been hanging out with Best Friends lately,
Fitting.
helping them with their run currently on in the trios division. You had Hook, who's current FTW champion, who homeboy showed up on Dynamite and then on Rampage. You had Hook just completely run through him quickly. I love Hook.
Your boy, you're behind there. Ricky Starks too. He's another one I
do like Ricky Starks.
He's so awesome.
So
absolute.
So here's the if you haven't caught on so far, here's what you have. So Rampage is where you have the majority of the time is where you have the TNT, TBS, and FTW championship. Then you have Dynamite is where you have your AEW World and AEW Women's Championship, as well as your tag team titles the majority of the time. So, which no, I'm sorry. They have the AEW Women's on Rampage usually, TBS on. I feel that's how they do it. I think they do it that way because Dynamite's on TBS, Rampage is on TNT, so they want the TBS and TNT champions respectively on those networks as well. But you got Wardlow and FTR teaming up against Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns.
What a nice surprise that was.
And even though if it might be a one-off, Motor City Machine Guns is it's a tag team that I thoroughly enjoy watching.
I can get behind them. I saw that. They deserved more in that little video package. I think it was just like it was weird how it was done.
Yeah. I wish
they were there.
I wish there would have been more to pull them in. I agree. Chris Sabin did show up the other night,
but it was
just up on the ramp.
Yeah, because there was they changed the match all up. It was Wardlow and
it was originally Wardlow and FTR versus what many thought was going to be Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, and Sanjay Dutt, but now it's instead of Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh, it's Jay Lethal and Motor City Machine Guns. So
I can get it. I'm behind it. Got Wardlow in it. I like Wardlow.
Yeah, he's a man. Guy looks like $1 million.
Promos are getting better too.
Yeah, I was gonna say I actually don't mind hearing him on the mic.
I can get. It comes across as legitimate and believable.
Well, and he's well spoken. He's not this meathead yelling. He's well spoken. Got the look.
No more MJF storyline holding him down.
Yep.
Got some gold. Speaking of which,
Scorpio Sky.
Is it just me?
Oh,
where's that TNT belt been?
Wardlow has it.
I know, but I ain't seen that. I don't see it on Dynamite.
No, they have it on Rampage.
See,
because Rampage is on TNT.
That's what you were saying. Yeah.
Now what they do from time to time is you do see like just segments of Wardlow, and you saw a segment this past time.
So you're saying I gotta watch Dynamite or I gotta watch Rampage?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, make it go live in 2 hours, and we got a deal.
Yeah. Well, We don't know what Tony Khan's working on, but rumors are there's another. There's
Call the show Ring of Honor Rampage. Mix the two. Make it 2 hours and live.
Yeah.
And you have me hooked.
Send them. But yeah. So eventful week coming up for sure. We've already talked about Wednesday night. We have the send off show 2, All Out. Then you have Rampage will be live this week, if I remember correctly, because it's in Chicago. You also have All Out in Chicago.
I love that they keep going there. A lot of people aren't too keen on the idea, and I can get their viewpoint, but man, they just have a bloodthirsty fan base there in Chicago. I like that they keep rewarding them with that show.
Yeah,
I think it's until the fans do you wrong, I guess, or don't show up. I mean, I'd keep going there too. I'm excited. Probably gonna have to watch it in a movie theater. That's okay.
Yeah, we got a full weekend. Also have Clash of the Castle in Cardiff with WWE. Got the interim, or no, not interim. You have the women's tag team championship tournament ending there. You have Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. Is that for undisputed, or is that just for one of the belts? I feel like it's for undisputed, but I'm not sure.
I'm hoping if it's for both, but they keep talking about the undisputed championship, and that's what it is. That's the undisputed championship match. But that's the one they keep talking about, so I assumed.
You finally, hopefully, have Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle coming to a head finally.
Yep, that's announced.
And which there's some. I don't know how much of that interview they had was work and shoot, but definitely some stuff that was said on that made you say, ooh.
About Gunther versus Sheamus.
First of all, I think it's going to be a heck of a match.
Bro. It's going to be a hoss fight.
Yeah, for sure.
Sheamus take it.
Yeah.
They are in the UK, and Ireland over there in the UK.
Ireland's over there. Yeah, Ireland is part of the United.
I don't know my geography. All I know is it's somewhat similar, and it's
you have Great Britain, Wales, and somewhere else. It's all part of the UK.
Yeah,
England.
Which over there.
Yeah,
it's across the pond.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean that.
Oh God, do you remember that? Off topic of this pay per view, but do you remember that? What was that stupid group WWE did that had like the Irishman and the Englishman, and it was Wade Barrett, League of Nations.
League of Nations, yeah.
Oh my God, that was so bad.
So the United Kingdom is made up of England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland.
Ooh, so technically I'm half right.
Yep.
Well, maybe a little more than half right, but yeah. So I can see a title change. Where's Gunther? Where's Walter from?
Walter, I think he's from Austria. Either Austria or Germany, one of the two.
Austria. He loses. Maybe. They can't have both win. They can't have Sheamus win and Drew win.
Yeah.
So I think the more likely case is that Drew dethrones.
So I think they keep Walter or Gunther, whatever you want to call him.
Boy, man, but I'm so mad at him for naming him that.
Yeah, I mean that's
you just took it out.
Gunther. I think they'll let him win. And to be honest, he's in the best shape of his life. He's every match he's had as Intercontinental Champion has been a good match. Him and Shinsuke Nakamura have had some amazing matches, and I'm hoping to be able to sit down and watch this on Saturday. May not be able to, but we'll see. Comes on at 1 p.m. So
yeah, it's Saturday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Might cut into some of my college football.
Gunther
It
kills me. Yeah, so you say Gunther keeps it, and you think Drew loses?
I'm hoping Drew wins.
Well, they both ain't gonna win. They ain't gonna give the crowd that much.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Somebody gotta lose.
I think they've been building Drew up so much that they let him win.
Then Gunther loses.
No, you don't let Drew win and then Gunther lose.
Huh? If
Drew's
Drew wins,
Drew's facing Roman.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I mean. Bro, it's so early in the morning. Yes. So you're right. If Drew wins,
Gunther wins.
Gunther wins.
Yeah.
Correct. All right. I'm going with that. I'll agree with that. Sorry. I'm not used to being up this early in the morning.
And you also have college football.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah. Monday night, Labor Day, is the game I'm tuning into mostly, where it's Clemson versus Georgia Tech.
A lot of eyes on that game.
Yeah, absolutely. Georgia Tech has a new offense. Clemson has a new offense, has a new defense. The entire country feels like Clemson underperformed last year with 3 losses. So, Clemson fans are rather nervous to see what happens right now. But there's at the same time, there's a lot of positivity coming out of Tiger Town, where they're talking about how good the defense is looking, and everything. So if you look at the way if I remember correctly, the way the spring game looked, either A, our defense is really good, or B, our offense sucks really bad. Which is, I'm hoping it's the first one. You have, USC kicks off this Saturday.
Georgia State.
So Georgia State's actually right across from Georgia Tech. It's pretty funny.
This needs to be a statement game. It needs to be a statement game. Like,
yeah, well, it needs to be a statement game for both.
Yeah, I agree, but this is
this
all talks on Spencer Rattler. Like, that's
this is the opportunity for South Carolina to come out and completely run through a team they should completely run through.
Yeah, if they don't drop
42
35,
points.
I was gonna say 35, but 42. Yeah. Like, it should be a blowout. It should be no holding back. Like, you need to get the motivation. You need to get the momentum in your favor, and the only way to do it at the start of the season is let it ride, brother. Yeah, sorry, Georgia State, but I mean, that's what it's got to be.
Yeah, a lot of people still just aren't sold on offense coordinator Marcus Satterfield.
You have to sell him.
So, Marcus Satterfield. It's time that everyone coming out of camp, it's, hey, offense is clicking. The reason Satterfield's offense struggles so much is because he didn't have his quarterback. Well, you got your quarterback now.
The quarterback.
So it's time to put up or shut up type of thing. So, man, exciting week.
It's a good week. A lot of stuff going on, man.
Exciting week. So we got wrestling Wednesday night, wrestling Friday night, wrestling Saturday
afternoon,
wrestling Sunday night, football Saturday, football Monday.
I think football's going to take man, this is the South. All right, football's going to take precedence.
Yeah, I mean, so guys, we may be coming back next week and talking more about football. Speaking of next week, we've got current schedule. We got Ring of Honor's very own Caprice Coleman coming on.
Can't wait, man.
That's going to be exciting. Get to sit down and chat with him and see. Talk about his career, talk about stuff he does outside of wrestling as well.
I want to know how he gets younger as he gets older.
Man, there's a reason he's called the Ageless One.
Bro, he looks amazing.
And recently he just the other night he had a match against Chris Adonis at NWA. And I didn't I meant to check and see how that went. Chris Adonis for those of you,
Chris Masters.
Former Chris Masters was exactly what I was about to say. That's another guy who's
He looks good too.
he does look good. And if you don't follow NWA, guys, let me encourage you to check them out. You can check NWA Power out on YouTube. You know, they were on what was it? They were on the pay-per-view was on Fight TV. That's what I was trying to remember. But yeah, so you had Chris Donis versus Caprice Coleman, and
Which is so funny, man. Like a lot of people don't remember, but it was years ago. Remember when WWE did Sunday Night Heat?
yeah, so years. Yeah, I was about to go there,
They had that match. They wrestled each other. Chris Masters and Caprice Coleman.
and that's when Chris Masters was being pushed big time
Yep, with the Master Lock
with the
challenge.
Master Lock Challenge. You had a younger Caprice Coleman come on,
And I think he's better now.
and you know, Chris Adonis beats him with a Master Lock. Same thing happened here on NWA Power. You know, you had at the Skyway Studios, you had Chris Adonis win by way of referee stoppage after you'd applied a Master Lock to Caprice Coleman. Coleman didn't tap out. Coleman passed out. So
Makes him look strong. I like it, and he's deserving that. He looks like $1 million. He can go better than just about anybody I know, and I've always been a fan. I love watching him. What he's doing with Tracy, what he does in AML, or what he's done in AML, what he continues to do on our television sets on network TV, with the Ring of Honor stuff, and crossing over into AEW a little bit. I love it, and I'm glad they're giving him an opportunity to shine, man, because he's something special. I could listen to him just talk.
Well, and other people you have on NWA, you have Nick Aldis, formerly Magnus and TNA. You have Aaron Stevens, who is
Did he just retire finally?
man,
Sorry, I don't mean finally, but I think I heard that you're talking about the former Damian Sandow, right?
correct, but I keep seeing him on NWA. So
It's like Hogan.
I don't know if he did retire. I don't know if he just went into a managerial role, or if he may have had a change of heart. It's absolutely possible. You have Trevor Murdoch.
Man, you talk about reinventing.
Modern day Harley Race.
Man, he's so good, and he I remember when he used to team with Lance Cade.
Yep,
rest in peace, Lance Cade. And he just ever since that dude and his release from WWE, he just completely the whole NWA thing can really reignited his whole career. He looks amazing. So
Yep,
love watching him go.
Man, there's just several other. There's a good number of talent that you can see locally on the indies that you can Ref Fit. He's one of the referees.
Jared
Fritz. Yep, and man, they're just NWA's touring right now. It looks like having some awesome shows.
getting involved with Control Your Narrative a little bit there, right?
Yeah,
Saw that little cross. I love the crossover stuff, man. That's a cheap pop for me. I don't care who it is. Like anytime these bigger companies like your NWAs, your GCWs, your AMLs, whatever, whatever sizable companies out there, I love seeing them get involved with another company.
well, I'll tell you what,
Creates a lot of dream matches.
I absolutely love NWA and how they approach their production. Absolutely love that. They
Old school.
They
look.
still had that old school NWA feel, and man, it's just something that every time I watch it, I'm just like, man, that's nostalgia
I
at
love
its
the
finest.
interviews.
Their interviews and everything. Yep.
Interviews are killer.
Um,
Man, I miss Darius Lockhart. Where's Darius Lockhart, man?
man,
I'm gonna have to message him. That's somebody that, bro. He's.
Yeah.
Whenever he cut that promo on NWA,
yep.
man.
I just saw an old video of him where he won the PWX TV championship
Yeah.
several years ago. So
he's somebody. I mean, people don't realize how young Darius Lockhart is. He's probably 25, maybe. And dude, the guy is one of the kindest individuals, and
he's talented.
My gosh, man,
very talented.
So amazing in the ring. So,
well, man,
hey, guess what? I finished season 3.
Oh, bro. What
do
you think?
So we can talk all the way through season 3 now and not worry about.
Don't say anything.
Yeah, I'm like, I get angry, like make me turn green. But like, so referring to Stranger Things, man, it's a hook, line, and sinker episodic show for me. So it's like it's perfect. It's well done. Through season 3. So now I'm like, okay. So I watched the way season 3 ended.
Before you go there, speaking of Stranger Things, I don't know if you were there at Revolution Nutrition, which, by the way, you can stop by their shop in Camden. Use the promo code LOWDOWN and get 10% off. But they had a week of Stranger Things.
Yes, I got the Dart, and I didn't know what Dart was because I'd never watched Stranger Things yet.
You know,
but now I know who D'Artagnan is. So, Dart, he was so good. Victor and Sean have one ready for me. Well, maybe when I get back. But so watching the last show of Stranger Things, it's now for season 3. Now they're starting to get longer. It's at the hour and 18-minute mark now, and I'm preparing myself because I quickly looked at the time, the length, the running times for season 4, and I'm like, oh boy, you know. But anyway, so I watched the final episode of the Battle of Starcourt, the final episode of Steven season 3, and I watched the way it ended, and I was like, this ended different. We better not turn it off yet, because usually we cut it off, and there's always like that little bit remaining. I'm like, it's still going. Let's continue to watch it, and then.
That's how, and thank God for Netflix and their time bar.
Right.
Because I like to just skip the next episode. But
wait, there's not other episodes I missed something in, is there? Because I stop every episode at the same point, except this one, because it kept going.
Well, I normally hit pause and see how much is left. And if there's only like 5 minutes left, I'm just like, next.
Okay.
Oh, that's in credits. But like there's, I especially did this with season 4 a lot, where I would hit stop and looked at my time bar, and there was like 20 minutes. So I'm like,
don't skip that.
Gosh.
But I'm excited, man, because obviously I know who they're talking about when they refer to the American at the end there. It's just, it all goes back, man. Well, we can talk about it. I mean, if you haven't seen Stranger Things yet, don't spoilers. The spoilers. It's been out for 5 years now, so go watch it. But even if you knew everything that happened, I think you should still watch it just from a Netflix original standpoint. It's phenomenal. But so Hopper, so it's got to be Hopper. That's my mind. You've already seen all through season 4, so you can't tell me anything. But my mindset, it's got to be Hopper. And it makes sense because looking back to the deal that was made with the lab people, they made a deal. But you never really know what that deal is. So it has something to do with Hopper. And 11 was involved in that too. You don't know what it is, but the mom, Byers' mom there, she just kept wanting,
Joyce.
Yeah, Joyce. She's like, well, what happened? He's like, don't talk about it. Don't worry about it. So I'm thinking it alludes back to that at some point. But I'm prepared for this ride, man, because everybody's saying season 4 is really, we got season 5 coming. So it's like, I'm excited.
So without giving anything away.
Please don't.
I'm not going to give anything away.
Okay.
I personally like this about season 4. Lindsay did not. There's multiple storylines to follow.
Sure.
I love that. There's especially 2 storylines to follow the entire time.
And it's funny you say that.
To where they're even split up, even episodically at times.
And it's funny you say that because I told Jess that the other night, like or last night we were watching it. It's like, it's funny, like when Dustin and they all meet up, Hopper and like they hadn't been together.
Yep.
For a long time. Like they were apart for several of the episodes, like several. I don't know how many, but they hadn't been together in the same scene for quite a while. And that moment gave you chills when they show up at the mall and they all come back together. But So
Never ending story.
that part cracks me. I was like, gosh dang it, Toothless.
Dusty Buns and
Uh,
Susie Poo.
The harmony was all right. It wasn't terrible. But
Yeah, it was funny.
he has no teeth. So. Poor kid.
Yet.
Wait, no, I don't get it. He had teeth before. Like he didn't have teeth, and then season 2, he got teeth.
So
And now they're gone again.
In season 1 and 2,
Never understood that.
so he myocranial something or another dysplasia. So like his front 4 teeth are implants
In the and when you see him with teeth,
in real life.
okay.
So it's my understanding season 1 he didn't have any. Season 2, I think his baby teeth came in. Season 3, I think he loses them. Possibly season 4, he's got teeth back, but he's wearing braces. Or no, maybe he wore braces the season 3. I don't remember. But
Well, I know. I can see like they needed to get this series done because these kids are growing fast.
yeah, for sure.
Like Mike especially
Mike's getting tall.
real quick.
Well, Lucas.
Lucas is getting older, and then the other boy, the main Byers, Will Byers, he grown quick.
Yep.
So I'm excited to start season 4 soon.
Black Adam's coming out soon.
You can't prep me enough for that movie, man. Like the way The Rock's hyping that movie, and the way Dwayne Johnson's hyping that movie, and the way he showed up at the I don't know what it was, not E3, but some movie reveal. He showed up in gimmick, in character as Black Adam. They're putting a lot of effort behind it, so it's gonna it's gonna be good.
People got upset at his shirt that he wore.
What did it say?
Something about the it's alluded to some type of superhero thing, and like he's something about the world's greatest superhero, and people are like, Black Adam wasn't even DC's greatest superhero.
Oh, wow.
It was funny.
You know what I keep seeing a ad for on Facebook? Hocus Pocus 2.
Yep, that's coming out.
And y'all, Hocus Pocus is my childhood. I will watch Hocus Pocus day or night, Christmas, Halloween, New Year's, Valentine's Day. I don't care what's the what's that word? Occasion. Hocus Pocus, I love. It's a cult classic. One of my favorite movies. So to be able to see that with the original 3 Sanderson sisters, see them coming back. And Sarah Jessica Parker don't look so good no more. But hey, the other 2 haven't aged to me.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Bette Midler is she's an icon, man, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. Lindsay's super excited about the movie. I'm kind of indifferent on it.
Why? It's the originals. It can't be bad.
Man, but I mean,
is it one of those cult classics you don't touch? Is that what you think?
I'm just not a fan of it.
Original?
Well, it's not like I think it's awful. I'm just
amok.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like,
bro, that part where they walk up to the paved road, and they say something. She says something. Like they don't want to step on the road because they think they're gonna I don't know, fall in. It was funny. I like it. Kathy and Jimmy. I don't know how to say her last name, but she's the one that rides the vacuum cleaner.
The Roombas.
That's right. They're making it more modern. See, you popped yourself.
Yeah, but
yeah, okay.
I appreciate witty stuff like that, but it's just one of those things that I'm just my family, my wife, my kids, they love Hocus Pocus. I'm just like, okay, that's cool.
And I like that the guy that played Billy's coming back too. The mummy, not the mummy, the zombie.
Yep.
Her ex-lover or whatever. He's back in it too. So I'm excited.
So
Same actor.
it's not that I'm not that I won't watch it, but at the same time, I'm not like dying to watch it. So
September 30th, a month from today, or no, a month from yesterday.
Well, I thought Black Adam was coming out in September, but I just read it's not until October 21st.
They better not run it against Hocus Pocus 2 because it's going to lose.
Disney versus Marvel versus DC. Marvel, Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus 2.
I can't wait.
In a world.
93 is the original. Man. Oh, our childhood was amazing.
Dude, that's 30 years almost.
Oh, God.
Ugh. 30 years. I was 6. I'll be 6 when that comes out. 36 when that comes out, almost. Yeah. But
anything else coming that we think of?
We still haven't seen Bullet Train.
I'll probably give it a look, man. I really need to.
Dude, I just haven't had time.
Dude, it's been nuts. It has been crazy with our shoot jobs and with husbands and father and
dude, kids started
booking cruises.
Kids started school. So I haven't booked the cruise, but
I booked 6. Not for me.
Kids started school and stuff, and man, it's just, dude, nights get crazy at times. That's why we do this as late as we do it. But we are taking a trip to Orlando for Universal again, so that's gonna be fun. They've opened the Mummy back up. Yes,
I remember that. That's the one with the fire at Universal. The one with the fire on the ceiling. Remember that? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if
it was hot.
I'm trying to remember if it was still there when we were it last time. But man, it was fun.
So we're big Regal guys. We have the Regal Pass.
Mm-hmm. Right. Movie Pass come back out.
Hey, you better believe I signed up for beta. Out of curiosity more than anything. So Movie Pass is the reason we have AMC A-lister and the reason we have Regal Unlimited.
Yep.
It's because of Movie Pass. Movie Pass had a ridiculous number of subscribers, crashed their site several times. It was an interesting concept. So it was a debit card. I was one of the originals. It was $9.99 a month. I could go to unlimited movies, and I was going to every movie I could possibly think of. It was less than $10 a month, and it was a debit card, a red debit card. I wish I had it because it'd probably be worth something someday. But it was a red debit card, and you go onto the app and you pick the movie you want to see, and they would load the money, the exact amount of money for this movie onto this debit card, and you'd go to the window and you'd pay with this Movie Pass debit card to see the movie. So an interesting concept, but obviously it went belly up. There's a lot of story. It was losing a ton of money. Now one of the original founders is coming back, and he kind of got ousted, and then Movie Passes when it went down is after his ousting. But now he's coming back, and I'm interested how they can take a concept that Regal and AMC have almost perfected, but to where they have a lot of a big following, and how do they come in and disrupt it and make it better without having the same thing happen again?
I think they disrupt it by allowing you to use it at any theater, Regal or AMC, but at the same time, AMC and Regal. But if it's just being used as a debit card, then it's one of those things. It's like,
right. So how do you? I mean, I don't know how they do it. I like the idea of being able to use it at any movie theater. I think that's interesting.
I agree.
And then of course we saw on the other side of the spectrum, Cineworld, the owner of Regal, they're looking at filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They announced that according to CNN last week. So that could be interesting.
Who is?
Cineworld, the Regal Cinemas, Regal.
Oh, really?
Which, again, Donald Trumponomics, they're not filing bankruptcy to go out of business. They're filing bankruptcy to clear assets and to put themselves in a better financial position, because they said if they do file bankruptcy, it's a long-term vision, long-term goal. So it's not something where they're going to close the doors. But obviously, these subscription services are what people want, but they are costing themselves a lot of money. $20 a month. I mean, you can't tell me there's not people out there seeing 2-3 movies a week. You know?
I mean,
or more.
Yeah. I mean, we were seeing what, 3 or 4 movies a month easily for a little while there.
Yeah.
So
that's normally $50 or more. I paid half, less than half.
So, well, man,
excited, man. It's gonna be a good week.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a wrestling and football heavy week for me personally. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I'm Thursday night game. Is there a Thursday night game this week? You have NFL starting in 2 weeks, right? If I remember correctly. NFL starting in 2 or 3 weeks, maybe sooner. I feel like it's 2 or 3 weeks away.
Oh, that's coming up really quick.
The
8th, I think the 8th. November 8th. Yeah, November 8th.
So, yeah, some exciting times for sure. And
can't wait for that game at 8:20. Tom Brady, Dak Prescott. Let's go.
August 20th. Yep.
No,
September 8th at 8:20. Is that a Thursday night game?
No, Sunday night.
Okay.
Yeah,
prime time.
Usually when Brady and the Cowboys play, I was talking to somebody earlier. The shootout. It's always a shootout. High scoring. If you have a good defense, it doesn't matter because the offense always overpowers. So
has Brady come back yet?
Yeah, he's scary. We'll be talking about Brady plenty more, I'm sure, throughout the year.
Man, it's been a good show.
Had a blast, man. Tracy Myers, amazing.
He is. I guys remember
he really sets the tone.
Yeah. Remember to tune in next week as we sit down with Caprice Coleman. If you haven't checked out any of our other shows, be sure to go and take a listen. And everything. Check us out on social medias at Lowdown Popcast. And you can also check out our store at store.thelowdownpopcast.com and listen to us live on www.thelowdownpopcast.com. Be sure to follow us individually on social media as well. And guys, we just appreciate your time and everything. And just, be sure to continue to follow us. We appreciate your time. As always, my name is Elliot.
Whoa,
Shane.
that's my line.
That is your line.
I'm Shane.
And I'm Elliot. And this has been the Lowdown Popcast. And as always, guys, we'll see you next time. And until then, just keep it popping.